What's going on, everybody? What's going on? It's your boy Seattle Rick 206, aka that boy Rick, aka they call him Slick, aka H1 Hype Man Rick 206, aka 2D Hydroplane Game Rick, aka Rooster Tail Rick 206, also known as Rick McQueen Jr. Lead promotions for Hydro 2D Racing, the video game. Y'all please like, share, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe if you're watching this on Facebook. Please like and share the video. I appreciate you guys. Sorry about the mess up. It's supposed to be Miami Thunder vibes. We are bringing the Thunder to you this Friday night flights with your boy Seattle Rick 206. Shout out to Team Hydro 2D, Mr. Bruce Carson, game owner and designer. Shout out to Mr. Kevin Glenn, the graphics guru and one cool dude. And your boy, the host with the most and all the burnt toast, driving these 2D Hydros over here on the West Coast, your boy Rick. Yeah, so we're going to get straight to it because I owe it to you guys just to get straight to it, but I appreciate you guys. Please share the video. Let the world know you watching 2D Hydros. Let's get it.
Miami with the beautiful skyline of this great city in the background from our stadium view, and we're right on the water's edge. And for the starting lineup of Heat 1A, here's Sam Cole.
Okay, Jim, we've got the U2. That's the Squire Shop, driven by Earl Hall, a 26-year-old rookie out of Hampton, Virginia. The boat's owned by Bob Style and sponsored by the Squire Shop stores out of Seattle. We have the U3, the Miss Renault. The driver, Milner Irvin out of Coral Gables, Florida. The boat is yellow and black. It's its first race, and it's owned by Jerry Shaneth. The U12, the Miss Budweiser, driver Jim Kropfeld, red, white, and gold, owned by the winningest owner in hydroplane history, Bernie Little. And the U40, the American Speedy Printing Special, driven by Fred Leland, owned by Bob Taylor, and it is white, yellow, and orange. Those are our first four boats for the action here today, Jim.
All right, the 1-minute gun has fired as the boats now go up to our left to the western end of the course in corners number 3 and 4. They're leading up is Earl Hall in the Squire Shop. He leads the pack up there, followed by Budweiser, who wants lane 1, the Renault, and the American Speedy Printing. They're all bunched up there now, and they'll come down here in a flying start as the clock continues to wind down in the running start. Squire Shop will take it wide. Lane 1 will be Miss Budweiser. Slot number 2 will be the American Speedy Printing. Slot 3 will be taken by the Renault, and on the outside is the Squire Shop. You'll hear the tremendous roar as we are very close to the boats as they come down for the start.
Jim, and it's Fred Leland in the American Speedy, the Renault, and the Squire Shop, 1, 2, and 3. But here comes Jimmy Kropfeld in the Miss Budweiser.
He's up on the inside, Sam, as he hangs it on the hook there in corner number 1, and it'll be the short way around the course, and that's the Rooster Tail of your lead boat right now, Jim Kropfeld. But look at the Squire Shop come right on the side, and it's going to be a dogfight down the back chute, Sam.
Rookie Earl Hall coming out of there in the Bob Style Squire Shop. Jim Kropfeld and Miss Budweiser up the backstretch, but right now it's Earl Hall in the Squire Shop, our leader. Here comes Jim Kropfeld about a half a boat length away.
And he pulls him even and then goes past him as they come down the corner number 3 for the first time. It'll be 5 times around this 1 2/3 course. And on the inside, you can see him hanging on the hook. You get that second rooster tail off that skid fin that keeps him from spinning out. But again, coming wide out of the spray is the Squire Shop, and he's giving him plenty of room right now. Kropfeld will now take a slight lead because of that wide turn as they come down here now to complete lap number 1.
Comes Earl Hall again, Jim. He hooked the boat just a little bit as they came out of that turn, but Jim Kropfeld slowed way down. Earl Hall's back in the front in Bob Style Squire Shop.
Speedy Printing is 3rd, and the Renault is now 4th as they come down now to completion of lap number 1. They're all on lap number 2 of 5. And there is our leader, Jim Kropfeld in Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser. Kropfeld from Cincinnati, Ohio. The crew in the boat based in Seattle, and Bernie Little from Lakeland, Florida. They are really spread out over the country. And now while he has a lead up in his rooster tail, once again, here comes the rookie, Earl Hall. You'll just see him coming up there on the side. He's hidden there a little bit by the Budweiser rooster tail. and they're just about side by side right now as they come down to corner number 3 again. What a show these fans are getting on this mile and 2/3, and it's the Squire Shop with Earl Hall taking over the lead from Cropfield as they come toward us to complete lap number 2.
102 miles an hour for Jim Cropfield on lap number 1. Hall holds the course records here for limited hydroplane racing, and Jimmy Cropfield is the world record holder here, and they're side by side here. There's our leader, Jim. Earl Hall's back up on top in the Squire Shop right now, going down into there.
He's in lane number 2, taking this mile and 2/3 course a little wide, while the Budweiser with Jim Cropfield hangs on the hook inside. The Speedy Printing is 3rd, and the Miss Renault is 4th, as we now have 3 laps to go.
And as they go through there, Jim Cropfield has things going his way. He has the inside track, but here comes Mr. Hall up on the outside. We got a heck of a race going here, Mr. Hendrick.
And the speeds will not be as fast as usual because this, as we said at the opening of the program, is our smallest course. They can't get the long straightaway speeds up. As soon as they get near the top end, they have to start slowing down the turn again because the water, of course, is not banked. And these boats do not turn like the average speedboat. They turn flat. The only thing that holds them in is the skid fin on the left side. If that lets go, it's bye-bye birdie. Now almost side by side at the apex of corners number 3 and 4 to come around and complete lap number 3 with 2 more to go as they spin out off that corner. They'll come on down and complete lap number 3. And once again, the boat on your left, or make it your right, is the Miss Budweiser, their cheerleader. Look at the Squire Shop once again, Sam. Give it chase.
Here comes Earl Hall. Their lap speed that time, 104 miles an hour on number 2. Hall doing one heck of a job in Bob Stiles' boat. Jimmy Cropfield, though, keeps him out on his hip. Our 3rd place boat, by the way, is the American Speedy Printing boat as he goes down the main stretch. And Fred Leland made a last-minute qualifying effort yesterday afternoon, 10 minutes before the course closed, and got in the race. But right now, here's Mr. Cropfield in Bernie Little's beer wagon.
As he comes off of corner number 2, side by side, moving up again. What a dogfight. Let's see who's got the acceleration. They'll put down the nitrous oxide button, which spits some instant juice into those engines, and they'll get up on the straightaway at about a half a boat length lead right now for the Squire Shop as they come into corner number 3. And they should come around to take the green flag, signifying 1 more lap, and we might have a drag race off that number 4 pin, Sam Cole, in the final lap.
Right you are. The green flag is flying. Everyone was legal at the start. Cropfield on the inside. Hall's running a wider track. He's staying outside, but he brought it in a little closer that time. And as they come across here, Jim, they're going to be dead even. Earl Hall takes the lead once again here by about 2 boat lengths as they head down into that first turn. Their speed to last lap, 102.990 miles an hour.
And we're down to 3
on
boats.
the inside. Here comes Mr. Hall.
And we're down to 3 boats. Miss Renault has returned to the pits on that last lap, so the American Speedy Printing currently is riding in number 3 spot. As he comes by, there he is, the roar of his engines as he comes about 20 feet from us. And now, side by side, with 3/4 of a lap to go, here it is, the Squire Shop on the outside with a slight lead over Miss Budweiser. The boat on your left, the Squire Shop. Now moving up on the inside, Jim Cropfield, and he really pours the coals to it. He must have been playing cat and mouse. He is really honking down that straightaway now, and now he's going to have to hold it, hanging on the hook, in tight on lane number 1. Look at that rooster tail of water. Tons of water coming off of that left sponson, and Cropfield knows the checkered flag is waiting. 400 points, which will give him a leg up on making this final in the Champions Park Point Regatta. And coming down towards the stand, the checkered flag is the winner of Heat 1A, Miss Budweiser.
Second place will go to Earl Hall in the Squire Shop, and 3rd will be Fred Leland in the American Speedy Printing. And you know, Cropfield showed some experience there. He cut out in front of Hall as they come through there and made him go way wide, and that was what won the race for the Miss Budweiser there.
They're both fine limited drivers. They're going to develop fine in the unlimited department as our 3rd place boat comes down now, and he'll take the checker flag. Sam, that is him, the American Speedy Printing, but Fred Leland minus his horizontal stabilizer, which he lost.
That's right, and as it goes by here, everyone got a good look at the state of Texas up on the front of that boat, owned by Bob Taylor out of Houston, Texas.
Now, the final order finish, if you will, Sam.
The Miss Budweiser and Jim Cropfield, they'll get 400 points. Second place, the Squire Shop and Earl Hall, they'll get 300 points. And in 3rd, it's the American Speedy Printing Special and Fred Leland, 225 points. The Miss Renault will not finish.
And we'll be back with more action here at Marine Stadium in Miami after this timeout. Back here at Miami's Marine Stadium, the second heat of the day, elimination action. Here's the Atlas van lines coming across our screen right now. And Sam, bring us the lineup for this heat of action.
Okay, Jim, you mentioned the Atlas van lines. That's the U1, the blue and white boat, the defending national champion, owned by Fran Muncie and Jim Lucero, driven by Chip Hanauer. We have the U8, the Executone, out of Seattle, Washington. Driver George Johnson, sponsored by Executone. It, too, is a blue and white boat. The third blue and white boat in this heat is the U10. That's the Miss Pure Delight, driven by Bobby Howard, out of Cape Coral, Florida. And our fourth boat, the Miss Tostiasti, red, white, and green, owned by Jim Saddam, driven by Todd Yarling.
The boats are now circling exactly right in front of the stadium. They're going up the back straightaway. Leading the way is the Pure Delight with Bobby Howard out of the Cape Coral, Florida area, followed up there by George Johnson, Executone, the Tostiasti, and coming up way late, but he'll be there, I'm sure, when the start of this race goes on, is the Atlas van lines with Chip Hanauer. It'll be a four-boat start in the flying. We have exactly 22 seconds to the start of this race. They cannot jump the clock. If they do, they're penalized an extra lap, so timing is all important. As we look to our left, the skyline of Miami shows us current turns number 3 and 4. They're coming down toward us now for the all-important start of this race, and it's still going to be 5 seconds to go. Bobby Howard is going to look like he's going to get the best start unless he can jump it. He better slow back off. Bobby Howard, I believe, jumped the clock. Here comes the Atlas van lines. And the Executone. Now all our boats are down the corner number 1. The question we have right now, did Bobby Howard in the Pure Delight jump the clock? And from our vantage point, unofficially, we would have to say yes, he was just slightly early. And now our lead boat is swinging way wide, hooking just a little bit, shaking loose, coming down the straightaway. It is going to be our leader, Chip Hanauer, in the Atlas van line. Sam?
Chip down in that first turn. Todd Yarling hooked and spun Miss Tostiasti. He's got it back on plane, though, right now. Chip Hanauer's way out in front here of everybody else. From our vantage point, you know, it looked like Mr. Howard was right on the money. He did a good job, but he put it on there. It looked like it was on the money. Hanauer came up behind him and took the lead midway down the straightaway, and it looks like Chip Hanauer is going to have everything his way.
No doubt about it, if he can just keep it going in the engine housing as he comes down here, riding very low in the front of the Atlas van line.
All distorted there, Jim. In testing on Friday afternoon, the deck blew off the boat. They worked for 24 hours straight and rebuilt the boat from all the damages and everything, and it's just a miracle that Chip Hanauer's out here today. And Bobby Howard's crew, as we see here, he also had a lot of damage earlier this week when his boat hooked and spun, and he lost a lot of stuff. But he's got it out here today. It's been a very tough week, but both of these teams have put it together, and they're in the show here today.
This boat is here. We're looking at the Atlas van lines having 3 straight heat problems in our first race of the year. Has not 1 point yet, and they are the defending national champion. They would like to win this race. This was one of the few races they did not win last year. Bernie Little-Smith's Budweiser captured this champion spark plug regatta. But right now, looking for his first points of the year after a disastrous start with a lot of mechanical problems. Here's our leader here at Heat 1B, the Atlas van lines, Chip Hanauer, out of the greater Seattle area. As he comes in close, and look at that, we take our cameras right in the cockpit.
As he does that, he just puts a lap on Todd Yarling and the Tostiasti, who got a little bit shaken up down there in the turn a little bit earlier on the first lap when he went down there and hooked the boat. So our leader is Atlas van lines. Right now, second place will be the Pure Delight, third the Executone, and the Tostiasti in fourth place.
And of course, that will all depend on whether they decide whether he jumped the clock or not, because that would move Bobby Howard from the Pure Delight out of second place back to fourth. And there he comes right close to shore. And we're only about 20 feet from the coast. From time to time, you will not be able to hear us because the engines of these aircraft engines will just run us right out. The Tostiasti, this is young man Todd Yarling from the Madison, Indiana area, getting his feet wet for the second time this year. Speaking of Bobby Howard, who is, of course, a driver for the Captran Resort Special a couple of years ago. He's back with his own boat. He and his wife Marlene are the owners of that boat. I understand you had a chance to talk to Bobby Howard, Sam Cole, earlier today before the race. Let's go to that conversation.
Bobby, you had some problems. You had a near accident during qualifications here, but I understand it was purely delightful that you got the boat all fixed and she'll be in the race today.
Oh yeah, we're all set. Boys worked all night to get the boat ready. Went into a turn a little bit too hard, and I hooked the Miss Pure Delight and tore the deck up, but we're ready to go. We're running strong, and we're very excited. This is our course. We've raced here for many years, and we're we're ready.
As the only all-Florida team in today's race, I know there's going to be a lot of fans cheering for you.
Oh yeah, we're expecting a couple busloads of folks coming down to see the Miss Pure Delight run, and we're very excited. Beautiful race course, beautiful day. It's going to be super.
That was a conversation earlier with Bobby Howard, who's now currently running second in the Pure Delight. We had official word, Sam Coe. You did say that all of the starters were legal. From our angle, it was a question mark, but the officials, of course, on the job.
That's right. Here's Bobby Howard. He's in second place right now as he goes up the backstretch. As we said, Chip Hanauer and the Atlas Van Lines will score their first points on the 1983 Thunderbolt World Series Tour. He'll pick up 400 points if he can get it around here to the finish line.
And he's now in corner number 3 to come around the checker flag, and this heat will be history. One of our boats has dropped out, and that is George Johnson in the Executone down there in corners number 1 and 2. He was currently running third. Now Todd Yarling and Toskiasi will take over in third place. Here's our leader, the winner of Heat 1B, and picking up the first points of the year, 400 points for the Atlas Van Lines and Chip Hanauer, defending national champion. Just going for a Sunday ride, not a lot of competition going on.
Our final order of finish there, Jim, will be the Atlas Van Lines and Chip Hanauer with 400 points. Second place will go to the Miss Pure Delight and Bobby Howard. And third place will go to Todd Yarling and the Miss Tosti, while the Executone and George Johnson did not finish, but they'll be back later.
As the crowd anticipates the second appearance of preliminary heats for our unlimited Thunderboats today, it reminds us that one of our top boats is missing here on our production from ESPN's Champion Sparkplug Regatta. A boat that won the inaugural, the Rich Plan Food Service with Ron Snyder, was damaged in a pre-race run. And the unhappy driver was standing by with Sam Cole, and they talked about that prior to race time today.
In our ESPN Series opener from Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, Ron Snyder was the happiest man in the state as he stood in the winner's circle after capturing the Missouri Governor's Cup Regatta. Today, he's got to be the saddest man in the state of Florida. Some misfortune out there this morning, Ron.
Sam, we went out for the last time this morning to do some testing. We've been dialing it in, as you can see. We've been on the water 3 times this morning, and we finally thought we had it dialed in, so we wanted to go out and make sure. Well, to behold all of us, we lost a blade off of our prop, and which in turn just knocked everything so far out of balance it took the bottom of the boat, gearbox, master switch, and the firewall right through the cockpit. So it looks like we're done and for today, all day, and it looks like we're done for New York too.
Ron, you talk about terms like the firewall, the rudder, and those type of things. Those are very naive terms to our fans at home who are watching Thunderboat racing. Explain what happens when a propeller breaks to a boat.
Well, what it does, it just throws everything so far off balance. We had a 2-bladed prop on, so we lost 1 blade, so that meant just 1 blade was on there. And if you know the mathematics about that, it just went violently into a vibration, which bent the end of the shaft. And then when the shaft got bent, my foot was coming off the accelerator. I felt it coming, but I didn't get it off soon enough, and that quick, or that instant, everything went. It just tore the strut off the bottom of the boat and pulled the bottom of the boat with it, part of it. And again, that was all tied onto the gearbox through the shaft, and it just ripped the gearbox right off the motor and broke it in quite a few pieces. And then turn that, hit the firewall, which is between me and the motor, and it knocked that out, which the master switch is sitting right on the inside of that, which controls everything in the boat. I couldn't shut it off, really.
Well, what about to a driver like Ron Snyder? You're very competitive by nature. I know you have to get yourself into a race day psych, so to speak, and when something like that happens, how do you cope with it?
Well, it's, you know, the first feeling of sadness was that we're out of the race, and I feel sorry for the crew because the 2 of them were still down here last night quite late. We thought we was having fuel problems itself, so they stayed here waiting on some fresh fuel to make sure we got it. And they got to work on it, and I feel sorry for them because it's going to take a lot of work to put us back into the race again.
Well, Ron, I know we'll see you back this year, hopefully in the winner's circle again here on ESPN.
We'll guarantee it once we get her running again, Jim.
Back here at Miami's Marine Stadium, less than 1 minute to go to Heat 2A. The Atlas Van Lines, the Squire Shop, and Miss Tostiasti all on the course. Miss Renault with the driver Milner Irwin did not answer the starting 1 minute gun and has been disqualified. They had their problems earlier when he returned to the pits after lap number 3. So the boats are now coming down the back chute, and there's the two favorites would be the blue boat, the Atlas Van Lines, and the red overcab there, the red cab over I should say, was the Squire Shop as they come down to corner number 3 and catch up to Todd Yarling in the Tostiasti, who is just taking his time now, coming off of corners number 3 over to corner number 4. We have about 10 seconds to the start of this race. As the clock continues to roll, the white flag is up. On the inside, to your right, the blue and white, the blue bomber of the Atlas Van Lines with Chip Hanauer. The boat on your left, the red and white Squire Shop, driven by the rookie Earl Hall. There's the gun, and here's the start. And it is the Atlas Van Lines giving chase now as they go down to corner number 1. It was the Squire Shop on top at the outset. Sam Cole.
Chip Hanauer had it wired there, and so did Earl Hall as they came down there. They both sped up the backstretch, but then slowed down going into that upper turn. For the start, they came down. They were both right on the money. And right now, Mr. Chip Hanauer's on the inside in the Atlas, but here comes Earl Hall again, Jim.
Earl Hall seems to be riding the best we've seen him do all season, and he now just pulls a little bit ahead of the Atlas Van Lines as they come down the back chute here in Heat 2A.
Hanauer's had an amazing week here, and he's getting everything his money's worth right now as they go up on the inside. Earl Hall, a rookie out of Hampton, Virginia, and Chip Hanauer both grew up in limited class racing, and they raced here on this stadium in 7-liter boats a year and a half ago. Right now, as they come out of turn number 4 and head down here, Hanauer has the inside track, the faster track, but Hall is sliding the Squire Shop way wide to keep up the RPMs.
And here they come down the complete lap number 1. Almost side by side. Boy, what a dogfight this is going to be. Two top boats now. And remember, 400 points for first place, 300 points for second, 225 points for third. And after they race twice, and they will, of course, accumulate all the points. And the top 5 point getters. Here's your Tostiasti currently running third with the rookie Todd Yarling out of Madison. He's getting the rough ride. He's having trouble steering that boat today, Sam.
That's right, he is. Right now, Yarling comes down here to complete his first lap here in this heat in Jim Sedam's boat out of Madison, Indiana. Meanwhile, up the backstretch, Earl Hall's opened up about a 4-boat length lead over the Atlas Van Lines, but here comes Chip Hanauer. Right now, that is, Jim, that is less than a half a second lead for Earl Hall.
Well, you know, as you look at the red boat leading the Squire Shop with the rookie Earl Hall, and on the inside, the national defending champion in the Atlas Van Lines, Chip Hanauer. Chip Hanauer started boat racing at the age of 9 in a special child's class out in Seattle. He's been racing about 20 years. Here they come as they come down now, almost side by side, the red boat. The Squire Shop still showing a slight lead on lane number 2.
Chip Hanauer on the inside there, Earl Hall on the outside. It's amazing that this Atlas boat is even in the race. That entire right side of the deck exploded into flames yesterday during a testing run, and that crew worked for 24 straight hours and got on the course about 5 minutes before testing concluded here today. But meanwhile, Earl Hall and the Squire Shop has had a heck of a week. They haven't had any problems at all, and everything's run their way here this week.
We had some dark smoke coming off the right bank of the Atlas Van Lines on overload. Maybe it was the nitrous oxide, but he really is trying to step off of corner number 2 now, and you get a good shot of Chip Hanauer in the Atlas as they come up the back chute. You can see that white water. He's looking at it. He's looking at the rooster tail of the boat he's trying to catch as they come and pull about side by side to come down here and complete lap number 3. Now they hang it on the hook. You can see the rooster tail start to come up off that left side where the skid fin is, and they're almost side by side as they come down into the pit area and come back toward us for the completion of lap number 3.
And we're side by side here again. Chip Hanauer's out in front now, Jim.
We can see that damage if you look, the blue paint, the blue and white paint job of Atlas Van Lines scorched from that minor explosion that you talked about earlier, Sam. In fact, Sam Cole had a chance to talk to the driver about that explosion earlier today.
Chip, a year ago on this very beach, we talked about your crew building a boat in 100 days. Well, they rebuilt a boat in about 24 hours. What about that?
Well, as soon as we come to Miami, we're always rebuilding something. And unfortunately, yesterday we went out for the first run of the day, and we had fuel vapor under the deck, and it got ignition from a fuel pump spark, and we blew the whole right side of the deck off. So they were up all night replacing that deck.
5 minutes before the course closed for pre-race testing, you got out on there, and the boat seemed to look pretty good.
The boat's handling very well. It's not going exceptionally fast. We didn't set any records here. You know, last year the record was 126 here. We're the fastest at 121. So everybody's speed's a little bit depressed, but at least the boat's handling. I think we can run close to that speed in the race.
A year ago, we also talked about the Bill Munsey legacy, the fact that this was a new team. Well, after the first start of the first heat today, that year's passed. Do you feel that the Hanauer Atlas era is beginning?
Well, you know, Bill's always going to be a part of our team. You know, the reason we're still here is in Bill's memory, and as long as Atlas Van Lines races, Bill's going to be with us. But last year was a memorable year, but that's forgotten. You know, yesterday's home run doesn't win today's ball game, and it's a whole new ball game. The Budweiser's faster than ever. The Squire Shop, the new boat, the Renault, Miss Madison Richplan is unbelievably fast and consistent this year. So it's a whole new ball game.
A fine young man, Chip Hanauer. As he talked to Sam Cole earlier, he has now taken about a 7-boat length lead over the second place Squire Shop, and he'll be on his way to the bank with 400 more points, and that'll give him a perfect 800 for the day and qualify him for the final here in the Champions Spark Plug Regatta, Miami's Marine Stadium. As they come now shaking loose, here's your second place boat, the Squire Shop. As our leader now comes down to take the checker flag. With the city of Miami in the background, what a beautiful sight, a rooster tail as Chip Hanauer takes the checker flag for first place. Second place goes to the Squire Shop in a fine battle, almost deck to deck for about 4.5 laps. The Squire Shop with Earl Hall was second. The Tostiasi with Todd Yarling will be overall third. And we'll be back with our final heat of preliminary action in just a moment. A good crowd on hand here now for the final elimination heat before we get to the final for the grand prize Champions Spark Plug Regatta. Sam Cole, here at Heat 2B, how about the entries?
Okay, Jim, we've got the U12. That's the Miss Budweiser, driven by Jim Kropfeld out of Cincinnati, Ohio. The American Speedy Printing Special, owned by Bob Taylor out of Houston, Texas. That's the U40. The U10, the Miss Pure Delight and Bobby Howard. And the Executone U8, driven by George Johnson. All 4 boats on the race course, Jim, and they're all heading up that backstretch for the start here of Heat 2B.
And leading the way is American Speedy Printing. Following with Pure Delight, Miss Budweiser, and also the Executone. They're all going up now to corner number 3, heading in a westerly direction. This course runs east and west. We are on the south end of the course, and these boats will pass within 25 to 30 feet of us, and the roar of the engines will no doubt drown us out. We're getting down now to 7 seconds of the start of this race as the clock is running. On the inside is American Speedy Printing. Coming out wide is Miss Budweiser, followed by Pure Delight and the Executone. There's the gun, and here they come. And on the outside will be Miss Budweiser and Speedy Printing. Kropfeld takes the Budweiser over to corner number 1 for the first time. Executone is giving chase as they go down to corner number 1, Sam Cole.
Jim, Fred Leland out of Seattle's got everything going pretty good in the American Speedy Special. He's on the inside. Jimmy Kropfeld has a lot more horsepower in Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser. He may just be saving equipment as he brings it out of there. And they're going to, looks like the guys are going to play a little cat and mouse out there as they go up that backstretch. Kropfeld in the lead, and Fred Leland making a heck of a run here in second place in the beautiful American Speedy Special.
Well, you know, they're not going to stretch any engines because now this is the final elimination heat. They'll take the 5 top point getters out of the 9 boats, and they will run for the big money. Speedy Printing right there, driven by Fred Leland from the Seattle area. Giving chase to Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser, driven by Cincinnatian Jim Kropfeld. And there he is. His rooster tails as he bounces now, and now he'll shake it loose, stab it, get on the nitrous oxide, and come on down to complete lap number 1.
And as he goes by Jim Kropfeld is our new leader in the National High Point chase. Fred Leland putting in a good show there in Bob Taylor's boat. As they came down for the start, Bobby Howard got up in traffic up there, nearly spun around the Miss Pure Delight. He's running in 3rd place as he goes by right here. And then George Johnson bringing up the tail in Executone. But Jim Kropfeld and Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser, our National High Point leader right now with a perfect 1,200 points over the 2 races.
Well, they had 800 points the first race because they did not start, so they couldn't really be considered perfect. They had 800 points. The 2 that he started, he won, and he won today is the 3rd, so this will be his 4th straight heat that he has won. with an official start. Our boats are now pretty well spread out as Jim Cropfeld comes around to the pit area. And you know, right now you got to know that Bernie Little is one happy guy. He wants to, of course, have his boat win anything it can. This is his hometown area. As the Budweiser comes by us. Earlier today, we talked to team owner Bernie Little about his anxieties and his excitement on race day. Bernie, hometown race for all it's worth. This has to make you extra nervous.
Yes, it does, Jim. I think I got up this morning nervous. Miss Budweiser has been encountering its problems here in the last couple days of qualifying. And, of course, this is the second race for our new driver, Jim Cropfeld. And when you look over this 1 2/3 course with 7,000 pounds doing 170 miles an hour, and you look at the end of that island and you know you got to turn, that's got to give you a few sleepless hours.
The carburation, there's been some problems in camp because of the cool waters up at Lake of the Ozarks as compared to here where it's more humidity. That's giving you problems.
Well, that's what we've said, you know, but really, yeah, you've got about 85, 87% humidity here today, and of course you have to correct for that. And because I think most of the boats inject water and methanol, and when you're taking the water out of the air, you don't need to take it out of the tank. But we've had just little things that's been not shaping up, but we're ready to go racing today.
And his boat, the Miss Budweiser, comes off of corner number 2. Now with an extensive lead over the second place boat, American Speedy. And, of course, the Pure Delight is also up there in that battlefield, as is the, let's check that boat, Sam, as they come by.
That's the Executive, Jim. Fred Leon in second place right now. And Bob Taylor's American Speedy Printing. Bobby Howard coming up now in the Miss Pure Delight. And on his inside, the Executive. Here we see Fred Leon. Now there's Bobby Howard and George Johnson inside and outside going down into that turn.
You're talking about the Pure Delight. Bobby Howard spun it out just as he went into corner number 1. He did that in practice and did a complete 360. Tried to take it too tight in practice earlier this week.
That's right. That's the green flag lap that time for Jim Cropfeld. He's on the checkered flag lap right now aboard Bernie Little's beautiful Miss Budweiser. And a win here today would bring the Budweiser Company and Atlas Van Lines tied again for corporate victories in unlimited hydroplane history. Budweiser number 2 right now, and they'll be back in number 1.
And Speedy continues now to hold second place as he goes down to corner number 3. But a whole 3/4 of a lap lead for the Miss Budweiser. So we'll place them for you. The Budweiser first, Speedy Printing second, Pure Delight third, and the Executive with George Johnson is 4th. Sam will, of course, tally all the points, and at the conclusion of this heat, tell us exactly who is in the final. 5 fastest boats for the final of the day. Green flag now for Speedy Printing. He comes by. And green flag also for Pure Delight and the Executive, and the checker flag will come out now. Here's your leader and your winner for the second straight time today for this Budweiser with Jim Cropfeld and Bernie Little, Miss Budweiser.
That's the second heat win for Jim Cropfeld here today. Had a pretty good year. His 4 starts, 4 finishes thus far. That gives him 1,600 points. Right now, the battle's going to be for second and third place. Fred Leon seems to have second place pretty well going his way right now, but George Johnson's making a strong challenge on Bobby Howard in the Miss Pure Delight as they go up the backstretch. Here's Jim Cropfeld and the Miss Budweiser, our winner in this heat. And as they go up there, George Johnson has overtaken Bobby Howard for third place.
A battle for second as George Johnson has now got less than a half a lap to go. He needs those 300 points to qualify for the finale. He's bouncing through some rough water. This is a very important finish for George Johnson, the Executive people, as Bobby Howard is going to be on his hip. Now let's watch him. Speedy Printing will come in and take second place.
Here comes Fred Leland right now. He's our second place finisher here.
And it's going to be Executive third, and Pure Delight will be overall fourth.
Bobby Howard suffered some wing damage. The fairings on the wings were ripped loose as he went by there. But our final order of finish, the Miss Budweiser, the winner, American Speedy Printing second, Executone third, and the Miss Pure Delight takes 4th place.
And here's your final field. Miss Budweiser, the Atlas Van Lines, tied with 800 points. The Square Shop with 600. American Speedy Printing, 525. And Pure Delight with 469. Those are your 5 top boats that will run for the top prize money here in the Champion Spark Plug Regatta. We'll have Champion Spark Plug Regatta. This is the final. No matter what points they accrued in the preliminary heats, it is going to be the order of finish. Winner take all to the checker flag, and the 5-boat field is on the course. Sam, how about running down our finalists?
Jim, there's the Tostiasti and Todd Yarling, owned by Jim Saddam out of Madison, Indiana. Going through turns 3 and 4 right now. As you see on the screen is the Atlas Van Lines, driven by Chip Hanauer out of Seattle, Washington. The boat is owned by Fran Muncy. Our next competitor, the U-12, the Miss Budweiser, owned by Bernie Little, who won last year's race here. Rookie driver Jim Kropfeld in the field here today. He's won 2 of our elimination heats. Our 4th boat, another rookie, Earl Hall out of Hampton, Virginia, aboard the U-2. That's Bob Stiles Squire Shop. And our 5th starter here will be the Miss Pure Delight, driven by Bobby Howard, the only Florida entry in today's race, and that boat is blue and white, numbered U-10.
Now, a lot of racing takes place right here. They're going to psych each other out. They have to fight for the lane they want. I believe Budweiser will want lane 1. Atlas Van Lines will probably pick lane 2. Squire Shop lane 3 or 4, and they'll fill out the field toward the shoreline that way. Agree?
And as you're right, Jim, you've called it just right. As they go up there, you've got Jim Kropfeld blowing water real slow as he heads into that turn. Chip Hanauer is behind everyone else, and off to Kropfeld's right is Earl Hall as he leads the field into that turn. Hall's going to be up in first right now as they come down for the start, but he's going to take that boat way, way wide to eat up some time as Earl Hall and Bob Stiles Squire Shop leads the field down to the starting line here for this, the Champion Spark Plug Regatta.
Less than 10 seconds. They're going to be just about on the money. It is Budweiser lane 1, Atlas Van Lines lane 2 on the outside, the Squire Shop. There's your 3 boats up on top with Pure Delight and Tostiasti following the field. As they dive down to corner number 1, it looks like it may be Atlas, but look out for that Budweiser and that spray, Sam.
As you see the water coming off of the huge skid fins on these boats, it's Jim Kropfeld and Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser bringing it off turn 2, heading it up the backstretch, and he fishtailed it just a little bit there. These guys have everything hanging out in this heat with Hanauer about a 1.5 seconds behind as he goes up the backstretch here on lap 1.
The wind has picked up here, and the boats are riding a little looser than they were in the preliminary heats as Jim Kropfeld in the Budweiser goes down the corner number 3, and you can see our 2nd place boat just coming in. That is the Atlas Van Lines into his rooster tail spray. He hangs it on the hook, the wall of water, about a ton or so. He bounces through some slop, shakes it loose, and now comes down to complete lap number 1. And Sam, get a time clock on him.
And as Jim Kropfeld brings Miss Budweiser across the line at the end of lap 1, his speed 118.810 miles an hour, and Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser. But Chip Hanauer isn't giving up. He's right behind Kropfeld as they dive into that first turn here on the 2nd lap.
And you saw the Kropfeld boat, Miss Budweiser, come right up on its right sponson, and boy, I saw the bottom half of that boat. He better watch out. It's getting a little windy, as is really the case here. Late in the afternoon, the wind comes out of the east, swirls around the stadium, and they could be in trouble. Right now, Kropfeld comes down toward corner number 3. He's got 1.5 lap in, 3.5 laps to go. Right now, he just has to keep it in the engine housing.
That's right, and as he takes it through turn 3 right there, no driver in this heat has ever won on this race course here before. It's a new course to all 5 drivers, but no one's giving any ground here as Jim Kropfeld and the Miss Budweiser lead here on lap number 2, and whoa, he gets a little bit of air there and takes off, Jim.
Yes, he is loose on the front end, as we said, and right now he doesn't know, but he's now got about 4.5 second lead over this boat. The Atlas Van Lines currently riding in 2nd place with Chip Hanauer at the wheel.
Kropfeld's lap speed on number 2 was 114.280. He slowed down a tick, but Hanauer's not giving up any ground. Kropfeld has lapped the Miss Tostiasti as he went into that turn, and now he's setting his sights on Bobby Howard and the Pure Delight, and as you saw that, he cut through the rooster tail with the Miss Pure Delight, and he's going to put a lap on Mr. Howard right now.
He does. So 1st place is the Miss Budweiser. 2nd place is the Atlas Van Lines. 3rd place would be
the Squire Shop and Earl Hall, 26-year-old rookie out of Hampton, Virginia, driving out of Seattle for Bob Stile. But Mr. Kropfeld on his way to the bank. He's driven 2 races here on ESPN, Jim. He ran out of gas in Houston a year ago. His boat failed to start in Lake of the Ozarks 2 weeks ago, but right now he's on his way to the bank if everything can hold together.
And he has 2 more laps to go, and he's now opened up about a 7.5 second lead over the Atlas Van Lines. Squire Shop 3rd. 4th place is the Pure Delight with Bobby Howard, and 5th place is the Tostiasti. And as our 4th place boat goes in the corner number 1, our leader, Miss Budweiser, with Jim Kropfeld, shakes it loose off of corner number 2, stabs it to the left, and starts down the back chute once again.
And Jim, his speed on lap number 3 was 110.290 miles an hour. Kropfeld heading up the backstretch. Hanauer giving chase in the Atlas Van Lines.
Uh-oh, look out. We just saw that boat almost go sideways. The Atlas Van Lines, he had to recover, and this is going to cost Chip Hanauer some valuable seconds in trying to catch this boat, the leader, Miss Budweiser.
That's right. You know, as Jim Kropfeld brings the Miss Budweiser out of turn number 4, he has been holding the same lead over Hanauer for about 3.5 laps. Hanauer lost all the time he had held on to right there because Kropfeld's on his way to the winner's circle for the first time as an unlimited driver.
He's had many, many race wins in limited driving. You know he wants this one very bad. He's just taken the green flag. He's one more lap to go, and he'll bring the first win in about a year to Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser team, and his first victory, as you said, Sam, in unlimited.
That's right. Chip Hanauer's back in the chase, but not because Jim Kropfeld's lap 4 speed was 112.360 miles an hour. He ran out of gas in Houston, Texas a year ago. His boat didn't start in Missouri, the first race of the '83 season, but right now, he's on his way to the bank as Earl Hall brings Bob Style Squire Shop down here. And here's Bobby Howard, our 4th place boat. Hall's about to put another lap on the Squire.
Here's our leader. Hearing gremlins, no doubt, as we've said many times before. He's coming to the apex of corners number 3 and 4. He strakes it down, and he's going to come down the straightaway, come close to the stands. The checker flag is waiting for Miss Budweiser, Jim Kropfeld. He waves to the crowd. He knows he's got his first victory as an unlimited driver, and what a feeling that must be.
Oh, it's got to be sensational. He's 43 years old, out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He was the 1982 Unlimited Rookie of the Year. Here's our 2nd place boat, the Atlas Van Lines and Chip Hanauer. And you know, from the conversation we had earlier with him here today on ESPN, you know he's got to be happy because his crew worked all night just to get in this race.
How's the final order finish, Sam?
Okay, Jim, our winner will be the Miss Budweiser, driven by Jim Kropfeld. 2nd place will be the Atlas Van Lines, driven by Chip Hanauer. In 3rd, it'll be the Squire Shop and Earl Hall. 4th place will go to the Miss Pure Delight and Bobby Howard out of Cape Coral, Florida. 5th place will be the Miss Tostiasti from Madison, Indiana. And in 6th will be the American Speedy Printing Center Special.
Who did not make this final for some mechanical reasons. And Tostiasti was the alternate, and he got into the race again.
Well, that's right, Jim. We're going to name that boat Tosti Alternate because every time we have a race here on ESPN, the Tosti makes it into the final heat.
Okay, our leader is now coming back toward the pits. The boats are wrapping it up, taking a cool-off lap. Our happy driver and crew will be making their way toward our ESPN microphones very shortly as he takes a parade lap and waves to the crowd. There he is, Jim Kropfeld, the victor in this, the Champion Spark Plug Regatta. We'll be talking to Jim and team owner Bernie Little in just a moment. So you got them all. Derek, that is quite a piece of history that's sitting right in your lap.
Oh, that it is, and we've seen a little bit of this boat earlier on during the H1 Unlimited qualifying, taking a spin midway through it. We know this boat can move.
Yeah, watch David up here. See what he does. He's got the other 3 boats coming down the front straightaway. David's starting to leg it out a little bit. I thought he might. He's going to run up and just catch him. But this is going to be something special. Michael McDonald, take him away. You got 3 right in your lap.
And it's a parade lap as they come over the front stretch. Pay and Pack on the inside. Squire Shop lane 2. The Blue Blaster in lane number 3. And look at David Williams at the top end of the course in that Budweiser at the exit pin of turn number 4 onto the front stretch. He is trying to reel them all in, and they're kind of waiting for him.
That's exactly what they're doing, Michael. They're waiting for him. He's also showing us that 109 mile an hour. He'll slow down now as he pulls up alongside. You were talking about a photo op. Now the other 3 boats see him to their right and on the outside. Lane number 1 is the Pay and Pack. Lane number 2, the Squire Shop. Lane number 3, the Atlas Van Lines. Lane number 4, and on the outside, the Griffin Budweiser. Final heat time of the 1981 Columbia Cup. Those 4 boats were all in it. Look at David Williams, Derek. He's right out against the outside course markers in that Griffin Bud.
Oh, that is. Talk about living life right on the edge. He's got to be within maybe 3 feet of that buoy, trying to take it now on the outside as we got some racers here jockeying for position. Looks like some movement in the middle there, Lanes.
Wow. Absolutely incredible on the Griggs backstretch.
Takes your breath away, doesn't it?
What an amazing sight.
Welcome to the time warp almost 40 years ago.
Pay and Pack, Squire, Atlas, Budweiser.
41 years, actually.
You could throw a blanket over them. They are deck to deck to deck to deck as they come up into Shell Sun Market, turn number 3 at the top end of the course.
White flag.
Be a beautiful sight to see them as they come around the apex into White's Finished Furniture, turn number 4. Our Buffalo brother friends up at turn number 4 too.
Get your cameras ready.
And there it is. There's your photo. That and the upside down Red Bull helicopter. Get the cameras out as they come to the John Mosteller Memorial start finish line. Pay and Pack, Squire, Atlas, Bud.
Just something special here as these 4 come down. Looking at a white flag down here in the lower corner. And he got it. Can't miss the Squire Shop in that lane too with that cathedral arched wing that they've got. The silhouette is just so much different. There's David Williams. He's painting the buoys, but he's painting the outside course markers. He's giving those guys just a ton of room. And you say, boy, what a sight for the eyes. It's not bad for the ears either.
Yeah, right now as they turn Tire Factory turn number 2, it looks like vying along with Atlas for that top spot, cutting it on the inside. Squire at number 2, and then in that inside lane, our first model Pay and Pack slowing down a little bit. I mean, these dash races are really short, guys, and so this backstretch here, I mean, this is it. If somebody's going to make a move, they need to surge ahead now.
Oh, the move on the inside. Look at the Pay and Pack gaining on the Atlas. Pay and Pack is going to force the tempo up the Griggs Ace Hardware backstretch as they get ready to dive into Shell Sun Market turn number 3.
I just don't think you can drive the competitive nature of the driver from them completely.
No doubt.
Oh yeah, is that what you got? Well, watch this.
David Williams on the outside is getting a little boat speed. Boy, for our Buffalo Brothers fans over there in turn number 4,
that's a picture.
Cameras are out.
That's a picture.
Coming right at you.
Right at you. Ah, so nice.
All right, bring them down the front stretch to the Mosteller Memorial start finish line. Who's going to take the checkered flag? Pay and Pack, Squire, Atlas, Bud. Looks like Atlas with a little surge. And the Atlas.
The Atlas.
Budweiser, Pay and Pack, and Squire Shop.
You could tell Kip gave the Atlas a little squirt when he came off the corner, and all of a sudden the rooster tail jumped up a little bit on that boat in lane 3. And
what fun.
Yeah, what fun. And we heard David Williams talking earlier that he was going to go out and play with their toys on the river, and they just did. And we're going to see that a number of more times. But, boy, here they come right underneath me. But David is coming off the race course, and you'll see Chip go with him. Or excuse me, you'll see Kip Brown go with him, the other two boats. And indeed, Mr. Hanauer is going to head off the race course. And now they're all going to go. Here goes the pan pack. So all four boats will give each other plenty of room and head to that big right-hand sweeping turn that you were talking about,
yes,
Michael.
turn number 5 from Summit Funding.
There you go.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on, my family? What's going on, my family? What's going on, Kyle? What's going on, my cousin Talia? Love y'all, man. Love you guys, man. Love you guys. Let's go.
water together, because if you saw the preseason interview with Andrew Tate, they asked him about teammate Dylan Runny, and he's had nothing but good things to say about him and said they had raced together since they were kids, blah, blah, blah. But he really did not like the term teammate, and he made that pretty plain. He says, no, he wears powder blue, and I wear black and gold. And he made it pretty clear. Once they go on the race course, all bets are off. He's going to go out and try and win, and Dylan Runny is just another competitor. Beacon Plumbing, the third boat through the corner down here. Check that Beacon Electric. Then it's the Beacon Plumbing with Corey Peabody. So the boats are spread out a little bit. Andrew Tate going up the backstretch with 250, sitting on the inside lane right now, but a lot can change.
It's kind of interesting the way Team Madison both went through the ESCO Electric infield together.
Does the 80-mile-an-hour rule hold for this 2023 Columbia Cup?
Yeah, there's a little change to it, Brad.
Yeah, there is, and it's kind of like what the rule has changed to be. It's that, you know, it's like fishing, and you throw a great big net out over the water. You're going to catch all kinds of things beyond just the fish you were trying to get. And that's not really what the 80-mile rule was intended to do. They're trying to catch a specific violation, and that's the one that yields a starting advantage to a team. So this gives the chief referee, Rick Sandstrom, the leeway to do that.
Gotcha. Boats coming out of the turn number 4 for Buffalo Brothers onto the front stretch. It'll be Tate in the Goodman Real Estate onto the front stretch first.
2 minutes.
Home
2 minutes.
Street, Dylan Runny second. Then the bright red Beacon Electric. And boy, really close to the Beacon Plumbing. J. Michael Kelly right next to his teammate there, Corey Peabody. Across the Mosteller start-finish line down to all doors, turn number 1. Anybody jumping across the ESCO infield?
I don't think they can, Mike. We're still a minute 35.
How you doing there, teammate? Get away from me. Don't you know I don't like this? Get away from me now.
Well, those two are deck to deck.
I know.
Peabody and Kelly.
I didn't think they were
electric on the outside, plumbing on the inside.
They were supposed to be all pally, I thought.
It's kind of interesting, actually.
Andrew Tate's up and moving down here a little quicker than I thought. He got down here at 126, and you don't want to be down here at 130, so he was a little before that, and he gave it a little squirt. Right in front of AJ, you got all 4.
1 minute mark.
Goodman in 1. The Goodman Real Estate boat with Tate.
Both Beacon boats still right next to each other.
Yep, and it looks like they'll be in 3 and 4. You've got Runny in lane number 2. Peabody in 3, and Kelly in 4. As they head up the backstretch with 37 seconds.
Now we'll see if those scoring up, and in the testing and in the qualifying, if they're going to hit those marks. 30 seconds.
So, lane number 1, Andrew Tate in the 91, Goodman Real Estate. Lane number 2 will be Dylan Runny in the 1, Miss Home Street. Corey Peabody in the 9, Beacon Plumbing.
15.
In lane number 3, J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric. The 8th in lane number 4 as they come
10
out of turn
7,
number 4.
6,
Buffalo Brothers
5,
on to the front stretch.
3, 2, 1, mark.
It is a clean start, and the speed is on the outside with J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric heading down to turn number 1 for All Doors Incorporated. It is a legal start. It is a legal start.
Coming down here 4 wide. J. Michael Kelly really flying the U8, the Beacon Electric. He's got the lead on the outside, but he's got a lot of speed off to his left.
4 boats right next to each other. It looks like the number 1 it has the lead right now with Beacon Plumbing, Corey Peabody in second as they come around turn number 2.
Yeah, it is. Nice run by Peabody in first place, heading up the backstretch. The home street with Runny in second place. It'll be a shorter course for Runny. The question is, what will happen with Tate on the inside? Can he catch up as they dive into White's Finished Furniture, turn number 3, and come around to Buffalo Brothers, turn number 4? The leader's going to be the home street at the exit pin with Dylan Runny. Way on the outside, falling back a little bit off the pace is J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric. Here comes your race across start finish. Peabody on the outside, gaining on Runny in the home street on the inside.
It is Runny on the inside. It is Peabody on the outside. And they are side by side as they get to the entrance pin of the corner. They are dead even. Runny on the inside of Corey Peabody, AJ.
Looks like Peabody's got a slight edge, but then...
Ooh, they touched.
Oh, whoa.
They touched.
Look at that. Peabody a slight edge on the outside as they touch on the corner.
They did touch in Tire Factory turn number 2. Peabody's going to pull ahead. Runny's falling back about a half a rooster tail. Goodman's trying to gain on the inside of the 91. The Goodman Real Estate boat with Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate had a terrific turn 4 to stay just inside the buoy marker. He was lost in everybody's rooster tail, but don't count him out. The big G on the inside is still a playa.
Yeah, your race leader is Peabody in the Beacon Plumbing coming across start-finish line.
The U1 needs to run an extra lap.
So the home street needs to run an extra lap. We'll have more details on that. Also hearing the 9 might. Okay, more details coming up. Race leaders Peabody as they come into Tire Factory turn number 2.
The U9 and Peabody way out front, probably 3/4 of a rooster tail right now. Of course, the home street is back down a lap, and then coming in second place is the 8 teammate with the Beacon Electric and J. Michael Kelly.
Yeah, it looks like a parade right now with a rooster tail lead for each boat over the next behind them. In the lead is Peabody. Then you've got Runny, followed by J. Michael Kelly and Andrew Tate as they come to the top turns. White's Finished Furniture into Buffalo Brothers turn number 4 at the exit bin. The final lap, checkered flag is out. Peabody is going to take the checkered flag in the Beacon Plumbing. Second place on the race course is the 1 home street with Dylan Runny. Third place, look at this, J. Michael Kelly able to get around Andrew Tate in the Goodman Real Estate boat.
Well, that race had a little bit of everything.
Yes. And interesting to see what judges may do about lap number 2 and the boats that touched right over at Tire Factory turn number 2.
And the home street still going around turn 2.
Guys, you have said they touched. Who? Who touched?
Oh, it was Peabody and Runny.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, we didn't know who had done that. So, but there's no precautionary extra lap for Corey Peabody. That is going to be for.
There is.
Well, he didn't take one.
No, it's going to be the 1 Runny with the extra lap.
Okay, yeah, because Corey's already back to the dock.
Right. You're right, Brad.
Extra precautionary lap, yes.
And from what we could see, it may have been Runny that moved down a little bit.
Well, clearly that's what I would think that's what the officials are thinking, and had there been any question about it, they would have had them both run the extra lap. So I think the fact that Corey was not told to run an extra lap is probably indicative of where they think a possible problem might have been.
The 40 flavor pack out first.
AJ?
Yeah.
Got a question for you.
Okay.
Are you ready for the final heat come tomorrow afternoon? Because you're going to have 6 of them coming side by side.
Yes, I am overly ready for that.
Buckle up, buddy.
Jamie Nielsen in the 11 Trust Company Legend Yacht Transport. Heading up the backstretch, the Griggs backstretch in lane number 1, up to White's Finished Furniture and Hardwoods, turn number 3. And he's got a pretty darn near full throttle on it.
Here comes our 2 red boats. Griggs presents Miss Ace Hardware away from the dock with Jimmy King. Here comes his son coming with him, Bobby King, coming away from the dock now. He spools up the Lycoming turbine engine on the U12. The Graham Trucking got a whole lot of red headed your way, got a whole lot of chartreuse and yellow up at the top end, Michael.
And across the Mosteller start-finish line on the front stretch is Nielsen in the 11.
Interesting.
Just at the exit pit of turn number 4 of the flavor pack.
For the photo opportunity and for, documenting it, hydroplane racing history. The Kings, Pocket Kings coming out together. And I thought it was interesting that all of the boats were out on the course starting to shore up in one way, shape, or form at the 5-minute mark. Both the Kings didn't come out till there was under 4, more like about 3:30 on the clock. Gamesmanship or just, a different tack, I guess.
It's just a different tack, You don't want to use the same start procedure every single time. Mix it up. The other piece to that puzzle is if you have got a really slick move, don't play it in Heat 1B. Save that for tomorrow afternoon about 4:30.
Great point.
So down to the lower end of the race course, Dustin Eccles with the flavor pack. He goes through in about lane number 3 right in front of AJ.
No takers on the Esco Electric infield. Heat 1B, thanks to Par Lumber. News Radio 610 KONA and 610KONA.com.
2:30, Mark.
It's the piston-powered Griggs boat. Jimmy King across the Mosteller start-finish line.
I'm kind of pulling for the piston power. I got to be honest with you. I know I'm supposed to stay neutral, but I just want him to be competitive, stay in it, and have a good showing. I mean, the fans just absolutely love the piston power, the popularity, the populist.
So who's got the best position right now?
Oh, we've got a taker across the Esco Electric infield.
You know, everybody.
It's the Florida. It's the flavor pack. Dustin Eccles.
Yeah, and here goes Jamie Nielsen. And this is a legal maneuver where he's doing it. He has to cut on the Grand Prix race course. That is a legal maneuver. Who is in the best position right now? You can't tell because there's so many different variables and so many different things you can do, and a lot's going to change in the next 1:35. Is coming up right now. You don't want. I always say you don't want to be down at this end of the race course at 1:30.
Nielsen jumps across the Esco Electric infield to the front stretch.
Oh, I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, we got less than 1:30.
Oh, the Griggs boat continues around the top end of the course.
Oh, there's no way they're going to make it back in time.
Minute 20. Yeah, he can.
He's taking it really wide. He can speed up. He can get there.
Keep an eye on Dustin Eccles with 1:12 right in front of you, AJ. He
there
can
he is.
lane 1 and take it if he wants it.
Flavor Pack is in lane 1 right now.
Keep an eye on the piston mode. He may cut the race course down here. He's got to go around the GP course to do it.
Here comes Nielsen. He's flying, trying to catch up.
And I'm not sure.
Why is Jimmy going all the way down?
Yeah, he is, but he does this before. He'll keep the speed up, and he keeps the RPM. He'll be there. Don't you worry. 35 seconds. Take him, Michael, up the back chute.
He's got his timing, Mark. He knows where he's at on the Columbia River in the Griggs boat with 39 seconds to the start of Heat 1B from Par Lumber. On the inside, you've got the flavor pack with Dustin Eccles. Nielsen in lane number 2.
30 seconds.
Bobby King in the Graham Trucking 12 is way on the outside, and he'll have to be behind the trailer boat as a rookie. Now you've got Jimmy King, who will pull up in lane number 3 in the Griggs Ace Hardware U3. They are up to the top end of the course and to Buffalo Brothers exit pit turn number 4.
10.
Eccles, lane number 1. Nielsen in lane number 2. A hard charging, but way behind is the 3 with Jimmy King. He's way off the start.
Great start.
Ooh, that was really close for Jamie Nielsen. He's got the boat speed and the lead in Par Lumber Heat 1B. Heading down to turn number 1 for All Doors Incorporated. It is a legal start.
AJ coming right to you. Jamie Nielsen on the outside.
Jamie Nielsen in the U11 bouncing a little bit. Ooh, he just kind of popped over. Looks like that Eccles managed to catch up a little bit on corner number 2.
Tire Factory turn number 2. Eccles made a move in the flavor pack.
U3 is going back to the pit area.
It didn't sound right from the get-go, and I think that's maybe why Jimmy King moved way outside in the milling period. So the race leaders are at the top end of the course in a White's Finish Furniture and Hardwoods turn number 3. On the inside, Eccles in the 40 flavor pack trying to catch up with Nielsen in lane number 2. A really nice turn by Nielsen. And look at the Legend Yacht Transport 11 come down the front stretch for the completion of lap number 1. He's flying it out of the water. Oh, trying to catch up on the inside. Can Dustin Eccles make a move in lap number 2? He gets to All Doors Incorporated, turn number 1.
Legend Yacht Transport presented by the Trust Company. Jamie Nielsen cutting it down here first, but Flavor Pack has got the late position on the inside. He's back about 7 boat lengths, AJ.
The U11 coming around the corner in first place. Nielsen looking great. Eccles still about 3/4 of a rooster tail behind, but trying to get up there, trying to catch up.
Yeah, that flavor pack seemed to lose more speed than Eccles did on the outside. So that inside lane can get awfully lumpy.
And when he nailed that start, all he did was continue to push, but he cannot shake the competition fully just yet.
Watch Eccles. He's been gaining on the Griggs backstretch as they go into the White's Furniture. Turn number 3 to Buffalo Brothers. Turn number 4. It's still Nielsen out in front, and that water is a little bit bumpy. Oh, major adjustment just to get around the exit pit of the Buffalo Brothers. Turn number 4 for the flavor pack boat. Nielsen with over a rooster tail lead now at the completion of lap number 2. Heading down the front stretch to All Doors Incorporated. Turn number 1.
And Dustin Eccles just moved to the outside. Jamie Nielsen was just pinning Dustin Eccles on that inside lane. He couldn't do anything, and now he's got almost 2 rooster tails. Nielsen right to AJ.
Nielsen in first by almost 2 Rooster Tanks, looking amazing. He's going to definitely, as long as nothing happens, looks like he's sailing. Then we got, of course, Eccles screaming by in second. And then third place, Bobby King coming in as the trail boat.
Yeah, that's going to be big points, Dave, for the third place.
Absolutely, with the points.
So back up to the top end of the course, off of the Griggs backstretch into the White's Finish Furniture and Hardwoods, turn number 3. Jamie Nielsen on the 2.5-mile super speedway. Into Buffalo Brothers, turn number 4. Holding the buoy line pretty close as he gets to the exit pin onto the front stretch. The checkered flag is out. And your winner for Heat 1B, Par Lumber, Jamie Nielsen. Legend Yacht Transport presents the Trust Company. Second place for the Flavor Pack with Dustin Eccles in the 40. Bobby King staying way outside in the Graham Trucking number 12, just at the exit pin now, and onto the front stretch will take third place points. Unfortunately, for the fan favorite piston-powered U3, Griggs Ace Hardware, Jimmy King did not finish.
Mr. Nielsen, sir, you've been racing. That was fun.
Oh, that was a race for sure, man. That was everything we had to keep Dustin behind us. And, man, he drove a great race. Anytime you can beat a boat like that, you know we're doing something good. But, you know, this U11 Legend Yacht Transport presented by the Trust Company, this team's giving me a great boat. All the work they put in this weekend testing, I think it shows that we found a combination that can hang with these guys.
From my perspective, I've never been in one of these things, but from my perspective, you had him on the inside and you just pinned him in lane 1 legally.
The best I could legally. I mean, Dustin's a true gentleman racer, and I would expect nothing less from him, and I want to give him the same courtesy out there. So, especially first heat of the weekend, you don't want to build any enemies out there. So, Dustin's a great guy. It's a great race. Hope the fans enjoyed it just as much as we did, because I think we're both hanging out there just about as much as we could.
As we saw in the first heat, which was great competition, the fans up the beach were hooting and hollering. This was really, really good racing. And as far as pinning him on the inside lane at the beginning of the third lap, he finally said, all right, I'm done. He moved outside. That had to feel good.
Oh, that was music to my ears to hear those words. But, man, what a great crowd today. Went down, visited all those fans down there in that Trust Company VIP tent. I could almost hear you out there. You guys were so loud. So, love being out here, love Tri-Cities, and looking for the rest of the weekend.
Well, we're looking forward to watching you the rest of the weekend. And the boat appears to all be in one piece, and isn't that a nice Saturday night for your crew?
Oh, that's a relief for sure.
Go get some more water, relax, have a good evening, and do me one favor. Would you please come back and do this again tomorrow?
You got it, Brad. Thanks.
Jamie Nielsen, driver of the U11, the Legend Yacht Transport, presented by the Trust Company.
Jimmy King going to answer the call?
Yeah, he's going to answer the call. They're just sitting down there and they're right below us. They still have the lid up. Crew members are reaching over the top of the cockpit, talking to Jimmy in there. Nobody's rushing. They've got plenty of time as we're still at 3:45 until our start.
Thank you, Brad. Cutting across the ESCO electric infield, it'll be the Goodman with Tate to the front stretch and the Nielsen in the Legends Trust Company, Legend Yacht Transport.
Gamesmanship there as they're cutting the infield, not so fast.
Yeah, that's really interesting, guys, because back east in Guntersville and in Madison, that's what Jamie Nielsen was doing. He was running up the backstretch, and then he was cutting across the race course and putting himself on that inside lane. This time, Andrews Tate said, no, thank you. I'm going to turn inside of you, and albeit early, as you hear the Griggs Presents Ace Hardware come away from the dock right below us, it is Andrew Tate down here on the inside. He's got Jamie outside of him. Here comes the 3.
3 minutes.
And coming down the front straightaway is Dustin Eccles in the Flavor Pack. And as I said this morning, I do expect Dustin Eccles to put the Flavor Pack in an outside lane.
Andrew Tate going by in the Gold G. Nielsen right behind, and here comes Mr. King in the Ace, Griggs Ace 3. Oh, the Flavor Pack coming by now, too. I still love the look of that boat. That is a beautiful boat.
2.5.
Jimmy King on the outside. He's putting the throttle down on that new Bullet. New engine, new Allison.
It sounds more like it should. Like you said, Mike, yesterday, you knew coming down the front stretch here that it just didn't sound right.
He moved way outside during the milling period, and it did not sound at all like it should.
That piston power, you can hear it in the corner. That's kind of why, yeah, that's what we're expecting.
Look we've got another cross of the ESCO electric infield. This time it'll be the 40 flavor pack. Dustin Eccles onto the front stretch. Jimmy King a little bit close to Eccles as they come down the front stretch.
And like you said,
pretty good squirt coming down here. He was on the far outside.
And Brad, you were saying 130, 135 is the mark. You do not want to be on the low end of the course at 135, right?
Yeah, 130. That's my little unofficial mark here. I don't like it's 130 right now, and he is at the entrance pin to the corner. Look to see if he doesn't put his foot in it and either give it a squirt and cut the race course or go way wide. Now he's going wide, trying to scruff off some time.
Way early on the backstretch for Jimmy King.
Jimmy King will cut the race course, I would assume. Here comes the two guys in good position, which is Andrew Tate sitting on an inside lane with Jamie Nielsen right outside of him.
But he has to mind the 1 minute rule, which he's just outside of as he comes across the ESCO infield, ESCO Electric.
That's a really good call, Michael. I would say that was a legal maneuver on the clock. Look for him to cut the course down here.
He dove in at 102 and came out at 58.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's okay. Look for him to cut the course down here at the lower end. He did not yesterday, and he ended up way behind everybody. There he goes. You got him, Michael, with 40 seconds.
Yeah, on the inside, Tate in the Goodman Real Estate. Oh, way up at the top end of the course. It's the flavor pack. I didn't even see Dustin Eccles way up there with 28 seconds. So Eccles will be in lane 1. Goodman Real Estate lane 2. It'll be Legends Yacht Transport Trust Company in lane 3. Jimmy King will be in the outside in lane number 4.
15.
Eccles gets the inside lane. He's early. He will not have a lot of boat speed coming down the front stretch. Nielsen's in 3. Goodman Real Estate in lane 2. Jimmy King on the outside in lane number 4.
3, 2, 1. Mark.
Man, that looked early. Nielsen looked like he may have been early.
He was a little
As they come
early.
down the front stretch, Jamie Nielsen is going to be leading into turn number 1 for all doors. The start is under review.
Coming to you, A.J. Nielsen on the outside.
Nielsen's in the lead, but we still got to see the start. Now coming up in second and
it's a legal start.
It's legal.
It's legal. We have the flavor pack in number 2, and then looks like Andrew Tate just inching after corner 2 to take second place.
Yeah, that race is for second place. My goodness, what fun.
He nailed that start.
Jamie Nielsen, it looked early from here. Wow. Heat 2A from CO Energy. Now the boats on the outside are starting to catch Nielsen.
We got us 3 boats coming deck to deck around the corner, Mike.
Boats on the inside, excuse me. Nielsen's on the outside. Yeah, exit pin of Buffalo Brothers, turn number 4. We've got 3 boats together, and there's Jimmy King. We can see way on the outside. Nielsen, he's got great speed off the exit pin, down to the Mosteller start-finish line, down to all doors, turn number 1.
And Tate is making a move on the inside.
Doesn't matter what happens to you. Life don't stop. Neither do I.
The Tater is going to pull up alongside Nielsen. He's a boat length back with the lead position on the inside. AJ 3 wide.
Coming into corner 2, Nielsen barely holding on to the lead with Tate coming in right in second. And then, of course, the flavor pack in 3rd. Mr. King coming in 4th, but making a run on the outside.
The boats are so close together. This is the best racing we've seen on the Columbia River. Jamie Nielsen with the lead. Andrew Tate is in 2nd place. Falling back, Eccles. And it may be Jimmy King that will take over 3rd place on the outside from Eccles. They are really close out there as we get to the top end of the course. It's Tate on the inside in the Goodman Real Estate. Nielsen, Legend Yacht Transport, and Trust Company on the outside. As they get to the exit pin, they are deck to deck. Nielsen is going to start to pull away a little bit. No, it's going to be Tate. Tate with the boat speed to the Mosteller start-finish line, the completion of lap number 2.
Tate put his foot in the gas, coming down to you, Brad.
Yeah, they are coming down still side by side, about a boat length or 2 between them. But this time it's Tate by 2 boat lengths at the exit pin. Keep an eye on Jimmy King, driving a 3 hard on the outside.
Andrew Tate coming around in 1st place and 2nd. Nielsen right behind him, coming in strong. And Mr. King coming in 3rd on the outside. Flavor Pack coming in 4th. Looking good, but lost some speed in turn 2.
Nielsen's going to have a tough time regaining the lead because Tate has run away with it at the exit pin of turn number 4 at the end of lap number 2. Coming out of that Buffalo Brothers turn into the White's Finished Furniture and Hardwoods turn 3. Tate in the Goodman Real Estate 91 to the exit pin of turn number 4 for Buffalo Brothers onto the front stretch. He's got a half a rooster tail, now a full rooster tail lead over Jamie Nielsen.
And it seems like there's a lot of rough water in lane 1. Everybody's popping outside to try to get a smoother boat ride.
Your winner, Andrew Tate. Wow. In the 91 Goodman Real Estate.
Did you see that one coming?
Jamie Nielsen comes in second. Jimmy King will finish third, and Dustin Eccles a 4th place finish in the flavor pack.
Wow.
I'm doing real good. How are you doing? You got it out front, but that Nielsen kid's for real.
Yeah, he had a good start on the outside with some boat speed there. He did a great job too. 2 lanes in there, just enough, and it was a fun race. I had a good time.
You got a in it? Is that what we're hearing from you today?
Something like that. Yeah, we changed something every time we've gone out, but that was the best the U91 Goodman Real Estate's felt here probably since we started making some real progress in Gunnersville. So we're trending in the right direction, and that's all we can ask for. You know, we like I said, we're changing something every time we get in the boat, and that was the best so far. So we're doing something right.
You're doing a lot right. We've been watching the flag up there on top of the bridge. Water conditions and the wind. Is it okay, raceable?
Yeah, honestly, it was better than a couple laps into testing, which was surprising to me. But I don't know, maybe you just get lost in the competitiveness of racing. You just go as fast as the boat will take you and look at the water in front of you, and whatever's waiting for you is there.
You having a good time?
I'm having a good time. I'm having fun. It's a good start to the day.
Keep it going. Andrew Tate, winner on the water of our Heat 2A, the Real Estate U91. Andrew, thank you very, very much. And at the dock, we are awaiting Bobby King in the U12. They're just now tipping the nose of that boat out toward the river. So, AJ,
J. Michael Kelly in the red, Beacon Electric in first, and then of course probably the favorite for this run, I would say Peabody. Nobody's been able to solve the Peabody problem, like Brad said earlier. Third place moving in right after that is of course the U1 with Dylan Runny and with the home street. What a great day for racing. It seems like the wind has died down a little bit too. So
agreed. Now correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if Bobby King comes through and
Esco Electric incursion into the infield. Sorry, Kurt, but the Beacon Electric making a short course around with J. Michael Kelly to the front stretch.
I want to make sure I got this straight. If Bobby King completes this heat, then it'll be the officials' call whether or not he can come back from a trailer boat in subsequent races over the course of the weekend. Is that right?
That is correct, and he is away from the dock. He's headed over to AJ right now as we are 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Corey Peabody in the Beacon Plumbing also went through the Esco Electric infield. As the home street with Dylan Runny comes across the Mosteller start-finish line now. J. Michael Kelly, Tire Factory turn number 2. Then you've got the 12, Graham Trucking at Tire Factory turn 2 now.
It's just so interesting that Jamie Nielsen, amazing start, all for naught.
You wonder where that may have occurred, you know, where the timing was.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure the data will point that out, and I'm sure they'll take a look at it.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
Reminding our fans on the shoreline here that when our boats come out of the pit area, they do not know what lane they will be driving this heat in. That is part of the allure of the 5-minute period, the race before the race. These guys are out there trying to out-finagle the other one, if you will, for their predetermined in their mind lane they would like to have, but they are not assigned. They are still jockeying for that position as we come up on 210. I would expect everybody to go around the top end of the race course, then come down here to the bottom and around one more time. I'm not sure we're going to see anybody cut the race course from where they are right now.
2 minutes. The only boat that knows where he will be on the race course is the 12 on the outside. For now, Graham Trucking with Bobby King. Setting up on the inside will be the Beacon Electric, Beacon Plumbing in 2, Home Street in 3 as they come on a what is a great photo opportunity down the front stretch.
This is a nice strategy, I think. You've got those three boats basically banking on the timing.
Minute 30.
If they hit the line all at the same time, that could be some sweet deck-to-deck action into turn 1.
Looks like J. Michael Kelly's going to hold on to lane 1. Corey Peabody in 2. Dylan Runny in 3. On the outside will be Graham Trucking. 5 seconds back with Bobby King.
And I like the timing a whole lot better this time. They're headed over to AJ with 110 till our start. AJ?
They are looking good, lining up. J. Michael Kelly, that's got to be scary for everybody having J. Michael Kelly in the first lane, actually, to tell you the truth. Then it looks like it's funny. Bobby King, even though he's on the outside, almost moved into second, but he's way out on the outside lane. And then, of course, you got Peabody, and then the home street and Dylan Runny.
How does Bobby King know to be 5 seconds behind? Is it the classic one Mississippi? You know, like you used to in touch football if you were to rush a quarterback?
You set your watch that way.
Okay.
That's a good point, Brett.
Yeah, you set your watch 5 minutes slow, or 5 seconds slow.
Okay.
And that way you still know your timing marks.
Right.
When you do get to dial it up and be on the front line.
So you can still work on that timing mark, just knowing that it's set 5 seconds. That's cool.
Setting up J. Michael Kelly in the 8, Beacon Electric in lane number 1.
20 seconds.
Lane number 2, Corey Peabody.
50.
In the 9, Beacon Plumbing. It'll be Dylan Runny in the 1, Home Street. In lane number 3, on the outside, 5 seconds back, Bobby King in the 12, Graham Trucking. 4, 3, 2, 1. It is a clean start. The boat speed's on the outside with the Home Street as they come down the front stretch.
Boy, they are tucking together. 3 wide getting down here. Fly on the right side spots. Is J. Michael Kelly going to get down here dead even with teammate Corey Peabody. But Runny's only a boat length back, AJ.
It looks like J. Michael Kelly's holding the lead in turn 2, but Peabody just takes the lead coming through turn 2, and then the home street tight in behind, but still at third coming up.
Look at that turn number 2 from Tire Factory. Corey Peabody taking the lead away from the inside boat, J. Michael Kelly. Coming down the back stretch. It's the Peabody entry in second lane, and he'll dive into White's Finished Furniture Hardwood's turn number 3 with the lead, but on the inside, J. Michael Kelly has the short course around to the exit pin of Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. It's still Peabody with the lead. Peeking on the outside now. That was a really nice turn at the top end of the course for the home street. Falling back in lane number 1 just a bit is J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Electric. Peabody has the lead. This is going to be a tight one into All Doors turn number 1.
Corey Peabody still getting there with almost the full rooster tail on Runny, but his teammate J. Michael Kelly is on the inside lane about 5 boat lengths back, AJ.
Looking really good. Peabody in first and keeping J. Michael Kelly pinned to the inside of Tire Factory turn number 2. The home street and Runny coming in probably almost 1 full rooster length behind in third place. And then, of course, Bobby King coming in 5 seconds behind in fourth.
Watch J. Michael Kelly.
He got pinched a little bit in turn 4 on the last lap.
J. Michael Kelly gaining on Peabody as they dive into White's Finished Furniture turn number 3. Trying to pull even at the apex into the Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. But it's still Peabody with great momentum. Oh, a big hop out of the water that time for the Beacon Electric with J. Michael Kelly hitting a little rough water at the exit pin of Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. It's Peabody with the lead by a half a rooster tail as they head down for the final lap.
Yeah, on the left side rearview mirror of Corey Peabody, his teammate J. Michael Kelly, who does not want to go away. He's still back by only about 5 boat lengths. If there's a mistake on Peabody, Kelly's going to be there to advance, AJ.
Bouncing and bobbing through corner number 2, the Tire Factory turn to corner number 2. Peabody in first place. J. Michael Kelly trying to catch up, coming in behind, and the home street and Runny in third.
It's a final opportunity on the inside for J. Michael Kelly, trying to reel in his teammate Corey Peabody. It's Electric on the inside, Plumbing on the outside. As they head into White's Furniture turn number 3, can J. Michael Kelly reel him in? At the apex, it looks pretty close as they get to Buffalo Brothers turn number 4. It's still Peabody in the lead and a little bit of rough water and a bobble for the Beacon Electric with J. Michael Kelly. Peabody's holding on to the lead onto the front stretch, and he will take the checkered flag for CO Energy Heat 2B. Second place will be the Beacon Electric with J. Michael Kelly, and a third place finish for the 1 Home Street with Dylan Runny. Great racing. Lane number 2 gets the win.
the freaking with Beacon. Electric, plumbing, it's a beautiful thing.
Lane 2, that's been probably the best lane all weekend so far, hasn't it?
And now that Bobby King has completed his laps, let's hope the race official allows him up on the line as we move forward this championship Sunday.
Here comes your national champion.
September 1986. Jim Cropfeld on the Miss Budweiser won the Unlimited Hydroplane World Championship by a scant 31 points. A season-ending victory in Las Vegas was the difference. May 1987. Cropfeld, on the threshold of defending that crown, drove the new Miss Budweiser for the first time. Spirits were high, but an old nemesis of boat racing struck again. Cropfeld was not seriously injured, but the crew had precious little time to repair the boat for the '87 opener. That is next. Columbia Crest Winery presents the 1987 Unlimited Hydroplane Series. Today from Miami, the Budweiser Hydroplane Regatta. Brought to you by Ford. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Household Finance Corporation, America's #1 financial services company. And by U-Haul International. Rent it all at U-Haul Centers. This is Miami. It is the month of June and it is hot. The beach outside of air conditioning is one of the few means of escape from the heat and humidity. This is Miami, a city which features one of the most dramatic and colorful skylines in the world. This is one of the biggest home ports for tour lines which depart on a daily basis for the Caribbean and the Atlantic. Yeah, this is Miami, best known, however, quite simply for the scenery. Greetings from South Florida. I'm Don Poyer, initiating our 4th year of Unlimited Hydroplane national coverage. There is a term in hydroplane racing that is often talked about. Drivers may not admit it, but it is in the back of their mind, and that is the blowover. It is a part of the folklore of boat racing. In the early 1950s, the Slow-Mo 5 went over on a qualifying run in Seattle, the first highly publicized blowover. There have been many others since. Perhaps the most spectacular, the Pay and Pack, which did a full 1.5 with John Walters aboard back in the early 80s. Right now we're with the defending national champion, that being Jim Cropfeld of the Miss Budweiser. And as you saw in the opening of our broadcast, Jim did indeed go through a blowover in the first test of the new Miss Budweiser. Jim, a good driver, and you are a good driver, can put it behind you. Have you done that?
You have to, Don. I think any driver, whether it's boats, cars, airplanes, or whatever, you realize in the back of your mind something can happen. It's a dangerous, any racing sport is dangerous. And you put it behind you and you don't even think about it. It's the next, matter of fact, even after they took me to the hospital, it was just in the back of my mind to put it out of there.
Backing up somewhat, what do you remember?
Boy, I can remember everything. The first thing I remember is seeing a sky, and then the next thing I remember is I took exactly 4, I hyperventilated a little bit, and I took exactly 4 breaths, and I sucked in some water, and I started choking and gagging, and naturally, as I was upside down yet strapped in, I kind of thought, boy, I'm not going to die this way. And I pushed the mask up tight against my face and turned up the air and blew the water out. And then I released my belt, turned over, and it was dark. And I tried to find my way around and get my bearings. And that probably took about 30 seconds. And after that, I was pretty calm.
Despite the problems you had inside the cockpit, both you and Steve Reynolds have survived major blowovers, violent blowovers. You've all got the 5-point belt system, the good cushion, and again, the enclosed cockpit.
Well, you know, thank heaven for people like Jim Lucero, who started the reinforced cockpit. And then Bernie came along with the Miss Budweiser, and we enclosed it and put the air supply in there. And without those people like that willing to dedicate their time and money to the sport, you know, we wouldn't be where we are today. But after looking at the cockpit the way it is, I can't imagine why we didn't do this 10, 20 years ago.
We mentioned Steve Reynolds. Jim Henrik is with him right now. They have just qualified in that brand new boat.
Don, we've got a lot of excitement down here in the pits right now. A brand new boat, Cellular One, gets in about 4 o'clock this morning. Race day, qualifies at an unofficial 1:14. Steve Reynolds, that's amazing.
Piece of cake, piece of cake. I mean, we only drove 72 hours to get here at 5 in the morning to put the boat in the show.
Well, you know, you've got some challenges now. You know that the Budweiser with the turbine and the Miller American, they've been testing more than you. How do you feel about that?
You know, those are things I don't have an awful lot of control over, Jim. We went out to just put the boat in the show. Now we'll start fine-tuning it. We got a ways to go yet. I'm pleased. 114 right out of the box. Not bad.
Not bad. Now, let's check on the starting lineups for Heat 1A, and here's Don Poyer. Don?
All right, thanks, Jim. That now means we have a field of 6 boats for this first race of 1987, and here's the rundown for Heat 1A. First of all, the defending national champion, the Miss Budweiser, with Jim Kropfeld aboard, qualifying at a new course record at 128.9 miles per hour. Next, the brand new boat, Steve Reynolds aboard the Cellular One, just arriving early this morning, qualifying at 113.6. And finally, the Pantry Pride, with Todd Yarling driving out of Hanover, Indiana, at 108.834. Now let's go back to Jim for the rundown of Heat 1B. James?
All right, Don, now let's check the action at Heat 1B here at Miami's Marine Stadium. Chip Hanauer, having problems with the Miller American earlier, has checked in at 115.106. The Miss Madison, the whole set Miss Madison, driven by Ron Snyder at 104.5, while Jack Schaefer in the U-15 just under the wire at 95.8. Every heat in elimination and the final will all be 6 laps around a 1 2/3 course. All right, Don.
Jim, there are 2 important factors the race teams will have to consider today. One, the salt water, of course. That especially for the teams that are powered by turbine engines. Secondly, the heat. Temperature in the mid-90s. Humidity level is very close to that, too. Heat 1A is coming up right after this timeout.
Basketball is back. Watch the action live on a variety of networks. Plus, add NBA League Pass to watch live out-of-market games with replays, highlights, and more. YouTube TV. Try it free. Terms apply. Cancel anytime.
Welcome back to Miami. Our first heat features 2 boats that have never competed before. A brand new Budweiser. Pantry Pride has been around. Todd Yarling will be driving it. But also Steve Reynolds in the Cellular One and a brand new boat built by Jim Lucero. The course, you might be familiar with it. Smallest on the circuit at only 1 2/3. A starting line near the pits and then the finish line directly in front of the stands. And for the all-time winningest owner, a silver anniversary. Bernie Little, how does it feel? You're starting your 25th year right now.
Yeah, Don, we sure are, and my heart is in there pumping to beat the devil, and I'm sure glad.
Take good care of that heart.
Yeah, I really am, but you can see what it does to me, and I know we're going to have a good day of racing here with Miss Budweiser.
Good luck today, Bernie.
Thank you, Don.
1 year ago, on a rainy Sunday day in Miami, Jim Kropfeld got his 13th victory, and Bernie Little got his 54th, and the beat went on. As far as the drivers for Heat 1A in 1987, Jim Kropfeld going against an old friend, Steve Reynolds, in his new boat, Cellular One, and Todd Yarling out of Hanover, Indiana. They're the 3. The Cellular One and Steve Reynolds, that boat right out of the box, the wrapper's still on it practically. Having problems after qualifying this morning at 113 miles per hour. We'll see if it can get started in time. Here are the 3 boats, the brand new Miss Budweiser, the Pantry Pride with Todd Yarling, qualifying at better than 108 miles per hour, a much better showing than last year. And here we come for our first preliminary heat in 1987. Here are the officials counting down. It's a legal start, and Todd Yarling with an outstanding start in lane number 1. Only a 2-boat heat right now. We've got the Pantry Pride and Todd Yarling bounce it along as he comes into the first turn. The Budweiser and Jim Kropfeld, of course, taking his time right now. And sure, he knows he's got the horsepower to compete and certainly to possibly go by the Pantry Pride, but he'll be easy on his equipment. And I don't think he wants a saltwater rooster tail in front of him. Turbines don't like salt water, we know that. This boat performing much better here in 1987 than it did in 1986. Todd Yarling a year older, this being a brand new Miss Budweiser boat. They seem to have the saltwater problems licked, while the other teams are still trying to straighten it out. And look how the Budweiser is already moving up on Todd Yarling, staying safely to the outside on this small 1 2/3 course. Coming around to complete lap number 1, Yarling and Crockfeld. Yarling on the inside for the Pantry Pride, and the Budweiser takes over the lead here after the first lap. The boat's going at about 102 miles per hour on their average on this small course. You won't see the lightning speeds here like you will on faster courses that are much longer, like Evansville, Indiana, where it's a 2.5 or 2 mile course. Madison, Indiana, or Seattle, or Tri-Cities, Washington, where you have some incredible speeds when they come out west about 5 races into the season. But the Budweiser, after a lot of testing and adjusting, coming back in to retake the lead going down the back chute. But again, the rebuild sponsors, the rebuild system on that Todd Yarling boat, the Pantry Pride, out of Hanover, Indiana. Jim Saddam, the owner, performing very, very well. And Todd Yarling as a driver has matured greatly over last year when they went through so much frustration. And he is holding his own as Jim Crockfeld still stays safely on the outside. Jim and Nancy Saddam cheering on their driver as they come down the main straightaway. Jim Crockfeld, the winner here in 1986, as well as 3 years ago. And in the meantime, it is Todd Yarling holding on and hoping to get 300 points. It is very important to pick up as many points as you can here in Miami. Give you a great start for the 1987 season. It paid off for the Budweiser last year when they went on to win the national title by a mere 31 points. With this new Budweiser boat, beautiful design, the air intake above. Of course, they had the blowover at the beginning of the year in May when they tested, but they have settled this boat down. Steve Reynolds, they've got a lot of testing to do, but that is going to be a bullet before the year is over with. This boat, they tamed it down, as I said, and Jim Crockfeld came out Sunday morning, this morning, and set a new course record at better than 128 miles per hour. So that tells you what kind of faith he has in this boat and what the crew has done. So the Budweiser looking very good here in Heat 1A as Crockfeld holds on to the lead against Todd Yarling in the Pantry Pride. Average speeds again around 102 to 105 miles per hour on this tight course. Short straightaways. Normally the boats with the most horsepower can go up to about 160 miles per hour before they've got to hit the brakes, you might say, as they go into the entrance buoy and around the turn. Budweiser with a rooster tail lead, and he will get 400 points. If it will keep running and battling this saltwater situation, he'll be able to come in and be in good shape for the final. Bernie Little coming into his 25th year. Here comes the sprint for the finish as Todd Yarling is now moving up on the inside. The Budweiser will get the win, but it'll be close. Budweiser winning Heat 1A. Good performance by the Bud and the Pantry Pride, and still looking for points is Steve Reynolds in the Cellular One. Let's go down to the pits.
Okay, not too bad. First time out, 400 points. And what do you feel about that, Bernie?
Well, I feel fantastic. Is there any better way to start off your 25th year and to have Jim Crockfeld and Miss Budweiser win the first heat?
Jim, when you knew the Cellular One was dead in the water, did you know?
Yeah, I saw Steve come out, and Lauren told me on the radio he pulled to the infield, and I saw him there. I thought maybe they would bring us, Todd and I, back in and call the heat, but they let us run, and things were fine. Budweiser ran.
I'm sure that you're going to see him this race and the rest of the races.
Well, I'm sure Steve's going to be there. You know, this is our first time in the water today, so they're tough. They'll be there.
Winner, Miss Budweiser, Jim Crockfeld. Don?
What a turnaround from last year, you guys. Todd, nice going.
Thanks a lot. You know, everybody worked real hard this winter. We did our homework and read a lot of books, and it paid off.
Now, tell me the truth. Was that a little bit of a nitrous run down that last turn and coming down the last chute?
Well, I know we realized we don't have the Budweiser equipment, so I thought I'd just lay behind him, try to see if he was going to finish, and it looked like he's going to finish. So I gave it all I had. I almost got him.
Good finish, Todd. Nice going.
Thanks a lot.
And with the Miami skyline as our backdrop, we'll return for Heat 1B after this.
Actor, dancer, cream innovator.
Miami. We're just minutes away now from Heat 1B, and when I say Heat 1B, the heat is a major problem, I know, but you ran well yesterday and much better than you have in the past down here. Are you encouraged now?
Well, I think we're encouraged if you look back at our track record here. We're not very encouraged if you look at how fast the competition's going, but you've got to crawl before you can walk, before you can run, and what we'd like to do is see if we can go out and run a heat without overheating the engine, without compressor stalling it. Then we'll go from there.
Not so much high speeds, but be conservative, because we got a long season ahead of us then.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a real unique situation here in Miami. We've never done very well here, but we've always been able to come out of here after disasters and get right back into the championship tussle. So, you know, a race doesn't make a season, and nevertheless, though, we want to give it our best shot here.
And it's great to see this man back racing again, Ron Snyder, out of New Bremen, Ohio. You might remember last year, Evansville, Indiana. Ron was thrown from the Hulsett Miss Madison hydroplane coming around the second turn. He suffered kidney and back injuries. Also, his face was cut and bruised badly. But he came back and is racing in '87. Back in Miami, this is Jack Schaefer Jr., driver of the U-15, hosing down the cockpit. I'm not going to ask him why. Maybe he just doesn't like hot vinyl. Here are the drivers for Heat 1B. Again, Chip Hanauer and the Miller American. Ron Snyder and the Hulsett Miss Madison. Finally, Jack Schaefer Jr. and the U-15. Miller American and Chip Hanauer aboard. Like the Cellular One and the Budweiser, has a new boat to campaign in 1987, but they have got problems. Again, oh, look at that salt water going up and over the deck into the engine. The three boats set for Heat 1B. Looks like it's going to be an old-fashioned race with two-piston engine-powered boats, and their conventional style with the drivers sitting behind the engines. A step back into the 50s and 60s, but these are quality folks and quality programs. Here we go. Ed Cooper's boat, the U-15, and Jack Schaefer aboard, both boats legal, and Schaefer with the lead as Ron Snyder is on the inside in the Hulsett Miss Madison down the main straightaway for the first time. The Miller camp, Fran Muncie, the owner. Obviously some frustration, and they can't wait to get on to the rest of the circuit where there's some fresh water waiting for them and not this salt stuff. In the meantime, Ron Snyder has taken the lead as they go down the back chute and into the second turn. Snyder, we talked about him being thrown from the boat in Evansville, Indiana in 1986. One way to combat that, they have given Ron a seat belt. Stirrups going over his legs and then across his waist. Keeps him into the cockpit, gives him a better feel of the boat, as a matter of fact. He said it feels so much better, understands the boat, read it better, now that he goes down the straightaways and doesn't have to worry about holding on and still competing. Ron Snyder in first place in the Hulsett Miss Madison. That boat gone totally through last winter, a new deck, a totally new left sponson, the bottom redone, new systems. That boat is one of the winningest in the history of hydroplane racing. And right now he has a rooster tail lead over Jack Schaefer in the U-15. Snyder, newly married. Says he courted his girl for 7 years before he finally popped the question. It's a good thing he drives boats faster than he courts women. Jack Schaefer in second place in the boat that used to be owned by Chuck Hickling, called the Tempest. He's in second place. Ed Cooper out of Madison, Indiana, the owner. Ed Sr. and Ed Jr. This boat using a turbocharged Allison engine. As far as Jack Schaefer, the boat he is driving, the U-15, is a supercharged Allison. Jack Schaefer has a good description. He says, these are the engines that won World War II. There's Jack there out of Irvine, California. Like many of the drivers, not a full-time racer in the Unlimiteds. He has his own company out in California selling executive jets. Yep, he's qualified and licensed to fly a number of different types of airplanes. Snyder out of New Bremen, Ohio. He stepped up, used to live in Piqua, Ohio for many years, and now that he is married and has moved his company to a new city, he is in first place here in Heat 1B in Miami. Second place, oh, you can see Schaefer bounced around, somehow stays in the cockpit and comes around the second turn. Here in Miami, Ron Snyder calls this a driver's course. It's a great equalizer. It's so small at only 1 2/3 miles. Short straightaways. Starts are critical. Positioning even more critical on a small course like this. And everybody says Snyder is one of the best at starting a race. Jack Schaefer driven that boat for many, many years, as we said, even back in the days when he was first starting, driving for Chuck Hickling.
Supercharged Allison in that boat, the turbocharged in this particular boat, the Holson Miss Madison. The Holson Company also involved in other forms of motorsports racing, providing turbos. Now they're in the unlimited hydroplane business as they have for the past couple of years. Ron Snyder coming down will pick up 400 points, and the winner of Heat 1B, Snyder, the Holson Miss Madison. 2 out of 3 boats finish. Schaefer and Snyder have a good time, 400, 300 points. And now let's go to Jim Henrik down in the pits.
Ronnie Snyder, Holson Miss Madison. You always do well in Miami. This has to be your course.
I love this course. It's the smallest course. It's a driver's course, so yeah, I love it.
4 boats have finished now in the 2 heats. 3 have been from the town of Madison, Indiana. Who's going to get the bragging rights?
Well, let's repeat what happened in New York last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jimmy. Attrition, as usual in Miami. You did a good job today. You get 300 points right off the bat.
There's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Yeah.
We're pleased with it so far.
Well, it's a little different now. You got longer responses, longer riding surface, a little better ride.
Yeah, it's a much better ride. We've got one thing to fix. You probably heard it popping a little bit down the straightaway, and we're a little too rich on the ADI, so we'll adjust that down and be a little quicker in the next heat.
ADI being the coolant, basically.
Right, the anti-detonation injection, which is a water alcohol system that cools the charge down at high manifold pressure.
That's impressive. I like anti-detonation
injection. Don't ask me what it is. I read the manual.
I guess I'll have to do a little homework. To the northeast, Miami Beach and the Atlantic Ocean. This is the Continental High Performance Corner. A closer look at the fastest race boats in the world.
Watch 100+ channels of live TV, your favorite sports, movies, and more, with no hidden fees.
While Jim Kropfeld sucks on some ice cubes to stay cool, he also has a liquid cool suit inside. Other drivers believe in other systems.
Chip, the other drivers with enclosed canopies have gone with a cool suit. You didn't. Air conditioning. Why?
Well, we feel it's safer. When we tried to get Jim Kropfeld out of his boat after the accident, the 2 lines that put the fluid into the suit and back into the cool system that's mounted in the boat hung on to him, and we had to cut those lines to get out. We feel that the less umbilical cords there are to the boat, the better chance we have to get a driver out safely. So we've gone with air conditioning.
Steve Reynolds, like Kropfeld, feels this system developed by Dennis Carlson of Michigan is the best way to go.
Steve, does this thing work?
I'll tell you what, Don, without this, I think the cockpit temperature, to me, would more than likely be right around 130 or 40 degrees. Circulating, the cold water through this and through the piece that goes around inside your helmet, around your head, when we had gone down in the heat out there, I was comfortable. I just plugged the cool suit in, sat in the deck, and laid in the sun.
Now you've got Chip down here who says, I'd rather have air conditioning because I don't have as many tubes if I got to get out in a hurry.
A matter of preference. If he's concerned about getting out, mine are located in such a place where it's not going to be a problem. They have quick disconnects on them. They snap in and out very easily. If that's his concern, that's his choice not to wear them. Frankly, I wouldn't drive with that one.
You don't have them on the arms.
No, I really don't think it's necessary. Where I really feel the heat is especially around the head. And with this cap going on, it's almost a rush of cold water when it goes. It can give you a headache.
You're a knockout with it on, too.
Thanks, buddy.
Or another way to stay cool is to hang around the pool on the Miami University campus. We'll return to racing right after this. The procedure all drivers must go through prior to the season is checking their flotation devices. Trouble is, drivers like Chip Hanauer, Jim Kropfeld, Steve Reynolds, they really don't need flotation devices because their boats are designed to keep them inside the cockpit, which is virtually unsinkable. Also, they go through physicals where their heartbeat, heart pressure is all checked. But now it is Sunday and time to go for our second go-around in preliminary heats. Here are the 3 boats. The Miller American is running now along with the 2 other boats, that being the U-15 and Ron Snyder. Good start. And look who's out in front again, Ron Snyder in the Holson Miss Madison. Second place goes to the U-15, third to Chip Hanauer and the Miller American. Snyder swinging wide on the first turn here on the tight 1 2/3 course. In second place, in lane number 1 on the inside, is Jack Schaefer Jr. out of Irvine, California. Way back in third, the Miller American. Again, it is Ron Snyder on his favorite course and in his favorite position. First place going down the back chute. Jack Schaefer Jr. out of Irvine in second place. Hanauer out of Seattle in the Miller American with that strange cockpit and canopy. Totally different from the other two boats that have gone with the F-15 or F-16 canopy. Instead, the crew felt they could build a lighter, stronger canopy. Not quite as big as the other boats. And we'll see if it works out as they enter this, the 1987 season. There's the Miller American out of Seattle. Ron Snyder, first place, already has 400 points today and 300 for Jack Schaefer. So these two boats based out of Madison, Indiana, having a super day on this smaller course. This the last preliminary heat for these three boats. Oddly enough, the three of them drew each other again in the second go-around. We have only 6 boats qualified. Somehow these three are going to dance this time, and likewise the Cellular One, the Budweiser, and the Pantry Pride will meet each other again in Heat 2B. Snyder going down the back chute though in first place and in a comfortable position. Jack Schaefer happy to get the points and will make the final very easily now as they go around the north turn. That's the bumpiest part of the course right there. As you go down the back chute, the last half and then well into the turn, then they come down the main straightaway. Miller American really not going fast enough to be worrying about much turbulence in the water right now. As Schaefer, who has to hold himself in with his left foot, by the way, the right foot on the throttle, that man, Chip Hanauer, strapped in and, of course, has the full canopy on top of him. Hanauer saying he hopes to at least get some points down here, something they have not been able to do. They didn't last year. Snyder, on the other hand, always jumps out to an early national points lead and does well down here in the early stages of the season again on a smaller course, which is a great equalizer between the turbine power and the Allison power or piston engine boats. Ron Snyder calls himself a homebody. Says he gets as much fun working with wood in his wood shop as he does anything else, except when it comes to driving unlimited hydroplanes. He is one of the finest at it. Dreams of someday driving maybe a cab-over boat where he would sit in front of the engine, something he's not done in the unlimited level. Some of the crew from the Wholesome Miss Madison, Bob Hughes, the team spokesman and owner, and his team is in first place. Jack Schaefer driving for Ed Cooper Jr. and Ed Cooper Sr. out of Madison, Indiana. The boat was bought last year by the Cooper family, moved out from Seattle from Chuck Hickling's shop, and now they drive with the Madison banner. The Miller American, the boat driven, or rather built by Jim Lucero, designed by Lucero, but the crew did many different things to it over the winter time. As you see Snyder cruising along now, here in the final preliminary heat for Snyder and the Wholesome Miss Madison. A supercharged stock Allison in the U-15, previously called the Tempest, and the Miller American with Chip Hanauer. Now the water beginning to churn up a little bit more on the tight course as Snyder comes around looking for a perfect day. He has 400 in the first heat, wants another 400 here. He would have 800 for the day, and he's got the checkered flag. First place to Snyder again. And the Miller American has gone dead in the water. No points for the Miller in that second attempt today. So here are the numbers again. Jack Schaefer coming up with another 300 points. 600 for the day, and of course Snyder in the Wholesome Miss Madison with 800. Down to Jim Hendrick.
Ron Snyder, second straight victory. How about the cockpit temperature? How's the heat behind the engine?
See me sweating?
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's 8 pounds I've lost in 2 heats now.
Would you teach me the secret? Because I can lose some weight.
Your wife called me and told me to do that.
Listen, coming down, you made a start in second place like you did the first time around. Then before the first run is over, you're out in front. Is that a strategy? Are you timing your starts that way?
There's no sense in jumping the gun. I'm not going to take a chance. And, you know, it's a new race, or a brand new race this year, our first race. I'm just taking my time at it.
800 perfect points going into the final.
Watch me in the final.
Steve Reynolds shaking hands with Team Owners. Steve Woomer already set for Heat 2B. We'll have that for you after this.
Welcome back to Miami. We have a chance to talk with one man you might say is without a country right now, certainly without a boat. Somewhere in Alabama, the Boy Alberta was being towed down by owner Jim Harvey, and the boat, or rather the truck, caught fire and was totally destroyed, unable to race. What's the status right now of the boat, George?
The boat's okay, Don. Peel a little paint off the sponsons, a little bit on the cowl, but all of our hardware, all of our engines, our gearboxes, everything from my driving suit to the propellers was in the truck, and the truck was totally destroyed.
What race do you think you'll be able to join the tour? I know Fran Muncie, Bernie Little, a number of people have been helping.
Oh, everybody. You know, the crews are jumping in. We got people working. I know the guys are back getting engines ready right now. I think some of the crews are going to come back with the Toyota truck and pick the boat up and take it back to Seattle, and I'm real confident we're going to make Evansville.
That would be very fortunate indeed. That boat, by the way, used to be the Squire shop. Jim Harvey is now the owner. Let's hope they can get back on their feet very soon. 3 boats now as a record crowd of better than 30,000 will watch Heat 2B, and here we go with the Budweiser with a good start. On the inside is Cropfield. On the outside is Steve Reynolds in the Cellular One. The canopy flies off the Cellular One. Look how high it went up into the air. The Cellular One still running in second place in lane number 2. A rooster tail lead as you see the shot with the Budweiser on the left of your screen. Cropfield with 16 career victories in the unlimited level. The canopy floating. Part of the Cellular One boat still sitting out there on the race course, trying to clear it out of the way so they can continue racing. The Budweiser in first place, hugging the buoy is Cropfield out of Cincinnati, Ohio, entering his 5th full year as an unlimited driver. Kind of strange looking, isn't it? The Cellular One without a canopy. The yellow flag is out as a result of that canopy flying up. I've never seen anything fly so high into the air as that canopy did on the Cellular One. Gives you some idea what the force is like. The Budweiser is slowing down. You can hear the turbine engine winding down. Something gone wrong. I know the Budweiser took a rooster tail from the Cellular One when both Reynolds and Cropfield were maneuvering for the start. That may be a problem. He may have taken some salt water on the air intake. Todd Yarling and the Pantry Pride goes into first place. Cropfield trying to restart. Cellular One is dead in the water as well. 3 boats start. We've got 1 running, and like a bandit, Todd Yarling is running into first place and running away from the rest of the field. The Pantry Pride in first place here in Heat 2B, going into the second turn. The Budweiser restarting. Cropfield with his own portable batteries in that boat able to get started, and he will try to at least hold on to second place and get another 300 points. Yarling out of Hanover, Indiana, never won a hydroplane race, but Jim Saddam, the boat owner for this team of Pantry Pride, said, I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like we're going to win it this Sunday here in Miami. We shall see. That boat is running better than we've ever seen it. It qualified at better than 105 miles per hour, 106 in fact, and you can hear the Budweiser sputtering. We've obviously got a problem with that turbine Lycoming engine inside, the T55 engine. The Pantry Pride going down the back chute. Todd Yarling all alone. There you see, better than a half a lap lead for the Pantry Pride. Len Slider, the president of Pantry Pride, good supporter of unlimited hydroplane racing, here today as he watches the boat owned by Jim and Nancy Saddam in first place. Todd Yarling looking for his first career unlimited victory. He will be in the final, certainly. Nancy and Jim. Saddam, they never let their feelings hide. They never hide them. They keep them right out there in front. You know where they stand every minute of the day, and they are overjoyed with what's going on right now. They strongly believe in piston power for hydroplane racing. Steve Reynolds, his day may be done. He has no points for the afternoon here in Miami. This, an Allison engine, turbocharged. They believe it's a great way to go. Certainly these turbines are expensive, no question about it. And the Budweiser is laboring, to say the least. Todd Yarling, though, coming around the turn near the pits, where the crew will get a good view of the Pantry Pride Sun Supermarkets, a John Steinecker design and build boat out of Detroit. And Todd coming down the main straightaway to pick up 400 points as the winner of E2B. And let the celebration begin with Nancy and Jim Saddam.
Boat racing is fun again.
He's enjoyed himself. Pantry Pride with a 400 points, 7 for the day, now tied with the Budweiser and Cellular One and Steve Reynolds. No luck so far. Down to the pits.
Todd Yarling, you're looking like you're maturing as a driver. You're not making so many rookie mistakes. You made a good start and you're thinking out there.
Yeah, this year I've got to do a lot of thinking. We've had to mature a lot this year. We know we've got quite a bit of power now over what we had last year. And we were a little worried coming down to Florida with all the new turbine boats and everything. But, you know, we wanted to do real well for Pantry Pride, and it looks like it's working for us.
Pantry Pride, U22, the winner of Heat 2B.
You're still in the final. We got time to change for an engine for the final, right?
Well, we're going to have to. We had some, the bleed band was kicking back all the time on me out there, so got a little salt in it, but you know, things like that happen in saltwater.
Things like this can happen in saltwater, freshwater, you name it. Talk about skyrockets and Old Faithful. The cowling of the Sayada 1 high into the air. Back in Miami, Don Poyer with Jim Hendrick. That's Jim Lucero on the right with his glasses. He designed and built this boat, the Sayada 1, without its cowling right now. Budweiser has problems too.
Is time on your side to get an engine change for the final?
Yes. We planned on making an engine change anyway, but now with the results of this heat, he took a heck of a salt spray from Reynolds there prior to the race, and I saw some blue smoke come out of the exhaust, and when that happened, I knew then and there it just took more salt than the engine could stand, and one of our secrets was keeping the salt out, and once it came in the front door, there was no way keeping the engine running then. So.
Okay, I'll let you get to work.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, let's do what Jack Schaefer's doing. Kick up a leg and watch the Mercury update for this week.
You're looking at the beautiful St. Johns River in downtown Jacksonville, Florida. This setting was the site for this year's season opener for the International Outboard Grand Prix Powerboat Racing Series. Jacksonville went all out for the event, creating a festive atmosphere along the river. A sun-soaked crowd of 25,000 people.
Start of each race, and it's taped inside the cockpit. The run for the money is upon us. Chip Hanauer, here's Todd Yarling of the Pantry Pride. What a day he has had after picking up a victory in Heat 2B. Here's Ron Snyder, driver of the Wholesome Miss Madison. We've got a visitor in the pits, Bob Seeger.
Now, what brought you down here? Thunderboats. You really like these? You already familiar with them?
Oh, I'm from Detroit. We see them on, the Detroit River every year.
So you grew up around these guys?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Gale 5, all these things in the 50s and stuff. Yeah.
I remember talking with some of the guys from ZZ Top. They said, well, these are kind of like our music. I mean, it's in the fast lane.
That's right. Speed. Serious speed. There they go.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
5 boats set up for the final. Here are the drivers. From the Pantry Pride, Todd Yarling's having a super day, and the Miller American Chip Hanauer still looking for points. Jack Schaefer Jr. on the U15. Ron Snyder, a perfect day so far.
Well, you know, that second heat there when the Budweiser broke down and Sawyer 1 broke down and those both turbines, maybe the saltwater did take their toll. Let's hope it happens in the final and maybe a piston boat can win it.
Jim Kropfeld, of course, hopes differently of the Budweiser.
I think it's going to be a big shootout.
Sayada 1, the alternate, is now in the infield with Steve Reynolds. That's because the Miller American had completed more laps, so it is in the final heat. Little different, more like a traffic jam as you see all the boats coming around now for the start and the point total so far today. But let's light them up now as they come down for the start on this very small 1 2/3 course. On the inside is the Budweiser, then the Pantry Pride, and the Wholesome Miss Madison. Ron Snyder right on the button for the start. Here they come, racing into the first turn with better than 30,000 people here at Marine Stadium watching on. Budweiser in lane number 1, but Ron Snyder with a slight lead out in lane number 3. With a conventional style boat, he's got to go into the turn a little bit hotter, dig in that skid pit and then come around the turn. These two have put on great races in the past. The Sayada 1, Steve Reynolds trying to start up the engine of that boat, I would imagine, so that he can stay on the infield and out of the way. Because he cannot compete now as being the alternate. with the Budweiser. Oh, he almost stuffed the sponsons. Jim Crutfeld recovering nicely aboard the Budweiser. Brand new boat. Sure, they've still got a lot of things to work out in that boat, but it is in first place. The Miller American going dead in the water. We're down to 4 boats here in the final. In first place, the Budweiser. Crutfeld coming down the main straightaway. Average speed right around 100 to 102 miles per hour. The Pantry Pride moving up. And right now in second place is Ron Snyder. You can see him peeking behind the rooster tail of the Budweiser. Crutfeld out of Cincinnati, Ohio. The man behind him, Snyder, out of New Bremen, Ohio. A couple of Ohio natives that really have been in this sport a long time and can do it as well as anybody in the business. Crutfeld in his brand new Budweiser. Snyder wearing a belt for the first time, likes the feel of it, can read the boat better, and is trying to hold on to second place. In third place is Todd Yarling in the Pantry Pride as the Budweiser again comes down the main straightaway. Second place, Snyder. The Budweiser, hard to believe after going through that blowover in May less than a month ago, it is performing as well as it is now. It is definitely a force to be reckoned with, but that's no surprise when you have the all-time winningest owner taking care of business here, Bernie Little, owning the Miss Budweiser. Crutfeld looking for victory number 17 in the unlimited ranks. Ron Snyder now being challenged on the inside. Here comes Yarling in the Pantry Pride. Yarling has second place. He's taken it away from Ron Snyder and the Holson Miss Madison. The Budweiser still in first. Todd Yarling looks like about a third of a lap lead now, as just coming past the apex buoy and into the straightaway is Yarling aboard the Pantry Pride. Todd Yarling out of Hanover, Indiana. Jim Crutfeld out of Cincinnati. And you can hear the Budweiser sputtering a little bit. Something wrong with that turbine engine. Back in third place, Jack Schaefer Jr. out of Irvine, California, driving for Ed Cooper out of Madison, Indiana. You got 2 Indiana boats competing against Jim Crutfeld out of Cincinnati in the new Budweiser. 3 boats running. The Miller American went dead in the water. The Holson Miss Madison went dead in the water. A battle of attrition now as the Budweiser and Crutfeld trying to hold on to first place. This boat knocking on the door, the U-22, the Pantry Pride. The Budweiser not healthy. You can hear it. They call it compressor stalling, a rattling type of noise. And you can hear it there. The Budweiser not healthy. Todd Yarling trying to catch the Budweiser. Here comes the checkered flag. The Budweiser will win it by less than 3 seconds ahead of Todd Yarling and Pantry Pride. Second place for the Pantry. Third place, Jack Schaefer Jr. and the U-15. So here are the numbers for the entire day. The Miss Budweiser, almost perfect with 1,100 out of a possible 1,200. Pantry Pride, second place money. The U-15, then the Miss Madison, the Holson Miss Madison, and the Miller American. Down to the winner's circle.
Wow, it's hot.
I was just going to say, that's the slowest I've seen you get out, Jim. It is warm, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of hot in there. The cool suit isn't quite doing its job. We're going to put another thermostat on and get it colder.
You gave us all quite a start and quite a thrill on the second turn on the first lap there. You were airborne, to say the least.
I don't know about a thrill, but it sure scared me when Miss Budweiser took a little dive in there. And the same thing happened to Heat before down the other turn, and it stalled me out. And I thought, oh, boy, here we're going to lose a whole race right here. But
well, I think we saw some fine driving because you had a less than healthy baby out there, it sounded like, and you had to push the people around.
She was popping a little bit. But, you know, the guys, they did a superb job, and the team worked together. And the saltwater, we licked it again.
Victory number 17 for you, Jim. Victory number 57 for this guy, Bernie Little, who has now starting his 25th year in unlimited hydroplane racing. Bernie, comment?
Oh, yeah, Don, it's great. Needless to tell you, is what I needed, and I feel great. And Jim Crutfeld and Miss Budweiser and their crew are fantastic.
That's the best rehabilitation yet, isn't it?
That sure is.
Congrats, you guys.
This Bud's for Jimmy.
We'll be right back with a final comment after this.
Wow. Yeah.